Hey, hi, Angel.
Hello.
We have a fun guest. If you're a Las Vegas person, you already know who this is very well. If you're not and you plan to come to Vegas, you need to know who this person is.
And honestly, you probably already do know
You
her.
probably do. I would say, if not I think she's one of...
I would say
the top Las Vegas influencer.
I would say number one.
Yeah, number one?
I would say she's the number one
I think so
Vegas
too.
influencer.
She's kind of like all over my feed. I can't get away from her these days. She's like, but then I'm like, wow, because she has kids, so she like not only tells you the fun, sexy stuff, but she tells you the stuff that's like if you're a parent. Anyway, let's get to it. Welcome to the show, Vegas Starfish.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I must say, there's actually two others that are bigger, but
What?
I still have to give credit. Drew Unlocked. He's smoking me on YouTube.
Oh, no.
He's got like 2 million on YouTube, and he got it all on donut content.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
People love making donuts.
Oh, I thought that was like a
literally,
euphemism.
no,
Just genuinely donut content.
no.
I thought it was like shit content.
No,
Donut content.
no. He went to Carl's Donut Factory. He used to work with him, and he showed like how they make donuts. And those videos got like 400 million views.
Oh my God.
It was crazy. It's
Yeah.
like so. Whenever we all joke, like we need some of that like good donut content, when we need views. And Alexandra Lourdes is huge.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know who either of these names are.
So Drew Unlocked is he owns Sorry Not Sorry, which shout out to Drew
yes.
is the best ice cream in the city, and he owns With Love Always.
Okay, I literally DM'd you yesterday. I'm like, I am dying to go to this place.
so
They look
good.
so good. Every time you post it, I've had a couple of friends go, and I'm like drooling over these burgers.
At this point, I would love to take Drew down a notch just so his ego stays manageable and be like, you know what, the burgers are okay, but it really is the best burger I've ever had.
Oh my God.
And,
What's the why? What is the...
So he's born and raised in Vegas, brilliant. It's a legit mom and pop, like his family owns it. They've got a little boy. Like he's just wonderful. And he works
cool.
there with his brother and another content creator, Hooked LV. But so when they were brainstorming this years ago, it was like a pop-up food truck situation. They sat down and said, what makes the most successful burger chains amazing? And so that's McDonald's, In-N-Out, and Shake Shack were the three kind of that they pinpointed for different reasons. And so they determined that like McDonald's was so successful because it's very simple. You know, you're getting your onion, your pickle, your lettuce, or I'm sorry, no lettuce, mustard, ketchup, and your bun, steamed bun, very streamlined. In-N-Out, they're using like fresh toppings, high quality ingredients, and very limited menu. Like you go in and you choose like A, B, or C. And then Shake Shack is using very like crispy, like the meat is like caramelized and crispy, and like the bread or potato rolls imported from somewhere very specific that's eluding me. Parker? No, I don't know. It's someone. It's an important potato roll. So he took all of these things and they put it together.
Oh, cool.
And they took like the best of the burger sauces, and they did all this like research and development within the community.
Looks so good.
And they made like a mega burger.
Oh my God.
With the jalapenos, every time somebody posts it, I literally am like,
Where is it at?
I need to go.
Centennial.
Oh.
And here's what's wild. They opened, I don't remember when they opened, but it's been over a month now. There's a line every single day from the time they open until the time they close.
Holy cow.
I've never seen anything like it. And yes, he's a marketing genius, but it's also like a great product.
Yeah.
And he's just so good at everything that he does.
And ice cream too?
Yes, Sorry Not Sorry is a different concept of his. It's also excellent. And again, he sat down. He's a big fan of like Salt and Straw
Yeah.
and some of the other artisanal Van Leeuwen maybe. And he took what made them amazing and took the amazing aspects from each company. He sources the same dairy that Salt and Straw uses from California, like Chino Hills area. He's very particular. And so everything he does is very thoughtful and intentional, and it's so good.
Yeah,
my
and they
God.
have the fun flavors too. Like I think I had mango chamoy when I went.
Yeah.
It was very good.
Dang.
Yeah,
All right.
and he gets it because he started as just like one of us, you know, a content creator. And so he's taking what is successful with all the businesses that he's worked with over the years and kind of putting that into his brands. And it's amazing. And then
Yeah, good for
Alexandra, she owns Cafe Lola,
Oh, yes.
Saint Honore.
Cafe Lola is the really kind of cute place with all the hearts and stuff.
Pink
Yeah,
and
yeah.
pricey and, you know, but very like on trend with like the IG photos
Sure.
and stuff like that. And she is a marketing powerhouse. And she's the one that always does the videos where she's like, come with me into the donut shop, and today I'm making a donut for Taylor Swift or whatever. And then like Taylor Swift shows up, like she's really got it like
Right.
together from a marketing
That's
standpoint.
awesome.
Yeah. So both of them are probably out kicking me a bit in terms of like being powerhouses, but they are who I look up to.
Yeah, that's great. And it's good that you have that. Like,
Right.
everybody
you don't ever
needs
want to
that.
be just at the very top, because
Right.
then where do you go?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but I'm right behind them.
Yeah.
yeah, no, for sure. And I feel like, again, I've never heard their names. I only know of the places that they own.
Sure.
So I feel like, again, you would still be.
Yay. Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yes, I think you should
Absolutely.
accept that for sure.
Yeah, like I said, there's just something about like it's very you're very comfortable, like because I think it's because you're mom,
Yeah.
So I think that like listening in and it's like, and I feel like you listen to different people for different reasons, but you are very easy to join in on like, and like you said, she's been talking about the burgers forever, so it works. Like, so what you're doing is working.
One of the big differences between them and myself is when people come to me and they say, do you want to start a brick and mortar concept? Do you want a burger place, a taco place, a pizza place? I'm like, maybe that would be cool. But I really I'm a little ADHD, so I really like that every day I'm going to a different business and finding out what makes them amazing. And I love what I'm doing. Whereas both of them had the goal to become creators of future mega franchises.
Yeah.
And they're both going to be very successful doing that. I really like making content. Like, I love it. And I see I have an 11-year-old and a 7-year-old. And my 11-year-old, at least, will go into some other iteration of content creation. He's thinking like gamer.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
but
awesome.
he's just really cool and really smart. And so I see this more like I'm in the marketing side of things. Whereas they're in the production.
Yeah.
So,
How fun. That's so cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Where did you come from?
Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
How long have you been here?
15 years now.
Okay.
So quite a bit. I came out of school with journalism, master's in journalism, and so I came out of school in 2007, and the print media industry immediately collapsed during like the 2008 recession.
Recession, yeah.
And so I was working like trying to get companies to let me write stories for them, and like every writer that comes out of school, I thought people would care about my opinions, and they didn't. So I'm getting like $200 to write a story for a magazine cover or whatever, and like I'm starving. And I met a cute boy who at that time seemed to have a very glamorous lifestyle. And I was like, what do you do? I want to do that. And he said, I'm a poker dealer.
Oh.
I travel all over the world and I deal poker, and I make like $100 an hour, and I'm in air conditioning, and I never work more than 4 or 5 hours a day. And I was like, sign me up.
Yeah, I'm in.
Like all of that school meant nothing.
Yeah.
Suddenly I want to know about poker. So I started traveling with the World Series of Poker.
Oh my God, how
God.
cool.
Yeah. And so I would like be in Reno, for an event, and then I would be in Monte Carlo, and then Miami.
That's so cool.
Fun.
Yeah, and it was awesome. It was very hand to mouth, sort of like nightlife industry or show gig working, because you go do your work, you make an envelope with $5,000 in it, you're rich.
Yeah.
So you go out and you spend $5,000 because you're going to make the money the next day or the next week or whatever. And so you kind of do this, and then a few years passes by, and you're like, I'm having an amazing time, but I'm not building anything.
Yeah.
So at that time, I met what would be doing the same work, the father of my children. And we decided it was time to get serious about careers. And so
Doing the same work, poker, like...
he was also a dealer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so we moved to Vegas and both pursued careers in the gaming industry. And years later, he's still in the gaming industry. And I was up until COVID. And then I was like, you know what? If my paycheck can be taken away from me, then I don't actually own anything. So even though Wynn was an amazing employer who didn't intentionally take my paycheck away, but COVID forced all of us to kind of reevaluate, I started creating tourism content in hopes of just boosting up the city in a time when we were fearful that it might not rebound.
Yeah.
So I was like, you should come here and check out whatever. And at that point, I didn't even know if those things would ever reopen.
Right.
But then when it did reopen, I had developed enough of a following. I wrote a book about where you should go in Vegas and what you should do, and I sell it for $10. And I told myself if I sold 10 copies, I would consider being a full-time content creator. And I called my mom and told her. My mom, who's a serial entrepreneur who made a fortune for herself, was like, okay, go try. And so I went out and I walked up and down Las Vegas Boulevard telling people that I had this guide and it would give them like a one-stop place to find out what was current in Vegas. Because you go to a bookstore and those books were written years ago.
Right.
Like this is
They're from the 80s.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is a PDF that updates every 6 months with whatever
cool.
like the newest thing is. So when I got off the live, I had sold enough to purchase like a used Honda Civic, which is not what I needed at the time, but it's just that's the kind of the
That's amazing.
range. Yeah. So
For $10 each, you sold a lot.
Yes. And so I called my mom, and my mom, the ever pragmatic, was like, okay, that's great, but you have to be able to replicate it. Can you do it again? So I went out the next day and I replicated it. And while I have not maintained used Honda Civic levels of sales every day, I was able to carve out a space for myself to support my family.
Yeah, that's great.
Doing this. So
How cool.
Yeah, so when Wynn called, I was like, I think I've moved on. And they were like, well, we're going to hold your job for you for a year.
Oh, that's great.
And you can come back, and we're wishing you luck. And so like now I get to see them in a different professional capacity.
Yeah.
And it's very cool.
That's cool.
So,
That is really cool. What a fun story.
Yeah, that's a great origin story. I mean, do you play at all? Do you play poker, or do you?
I did. There's a joke that if you're a terrible poker player, you become a poker dealer. And that's kind of where I was. Like,
Okay.
I think the game is fascinating. It is the only game in the casino where you can actually win.
Yeah.
People will argue that you can win at craps or blackjack or whatever. They're leading you down a dark path. Anything that has a house edge, the house will win.
Right.
Same with slots. They're super fun, but you will lose.
Yeah, sure.
But poker is the only game where a commission or the rake is taken out of each pot. So the house has no vested interest in who wins or loses. They just want action.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So by that logic, you could theoretically master the game and carve out a living at it. And there are a lot of people that have successfully done that.
Yeah.
I am not one of those people. So.
Yeah, I don't think I could
actually
either.
started playing a bit a while ago. I would go. We used to live by the South Point, and there's a little poker room in there, and I used to play
great
a lot.
little poker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's
really
cute.
is. They have great tournaments, and I used to play, and I did okay. Like I was paying bills because I wasn't crazy, but then there was some nights where I was like, oh, I've earned enough of a little bankroll to go a little hard. But I mean, I'm not a big numbers person, but what I am is like a good reader, because I'm an actor or whatever. But like that was what I really enjoyed, was just connecting with 9 other people and just kind of like, so yeah, I found it fun and I enjoyed it. But like, yeah, but how, and I used to like, I became friends with a couple of dealers because if you play a lot, obviously when they're shifting around, you're like, oh, good, he's coming to our table.
Right.
That
I
whole
like him.
thing.
He's fast.
Yeah.
So were you like 1-2, 2-5, PLO?
1-2, no limit, and I would like, I started to like dip my toe in the other one, and I was like, oh my God, it was like the action was so crazy, like stressed me out too much. I was like,
oh, the difference in
huge.
1-2 and 2-5 in like terms of how they play is wild.
Oh my God, wild.
Yeah.
And I would like the next table would be playing, and I would be like, well, you'd see these mountains, and I was like, that sounds fun. And then you get over there, you're like, oh God, no.
No. I like mixed games just for like, because at least it's not boring.
Yeah.
Like 1-2 gets really boring for me, but from a like professional standpoint, 1-2 is probably like the softest zone to carve out a few $100s a day.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
And
for those of you who don't know what any of this is, neither do I.
she was born and raised here. How cool is it that you had your master's in journalism, and then like here you are and you're a journalist. Like so, it's kind of like come full circle, and it's how awesome is that?
Yeah, I actually had a conversation. I was talking to a family member this morning, and I was having the same conversation. I have a sister who was very good. She always did the correct thing, and she was a very good person. And she was good enough that the Air Force came to her and recruited her out of a tech position at Best Buy.
Wow.
To
Whoa.
like start the drone program for the Air Force.
Holy
And her and her
shit.
husband. He's still active. She has since left. But she's just amazing, and she did everything the right way. And now, in her early 40s, she's very comfortable and happy and has 2 great kids. I did everything wrong. I did all the drugs. I did not all of them. I did the fun ones, like the party drugs, but nothing messy. But I snuck out. I had many boyfriends, way too many.
I love this for you.
My 20s were a mess, and I had horrible credit, and I did everything wrong. And I didn't decide to pursue higher education until I was over that hump, or get serious about building a future or settling down. And now I'm in the same place she is. And that's not to say that bad decisions pay off. It's to say that, like, you don't have to have it all figured out. There's a lot of ways to get wherever you're going in the end. And it's cool because I can relate to Vegas and understand what people are looking for because I come from kind of that nightlife party background. But as a business owner now, I also understand what the businesses need and what they're looking for in terms of representation. I thought I was going to come out and be the next, like, I don't know, I can't think of it, like a CNN broadcaster or Condé Nast or something like amazing for travel and all that. And it didn't work out that way because those positions are very, very hard to get. And most low-level journalism positions don't pay anything. But here I am kind of accidentally in the place where I always thought I would end up.
Yeah.
So if you have it in you and it's part of your core being, like, you're going to land in that capacity.
Yeah,
How
that's
cool.
so great.
So it is cool. But
Yeah.
my sister should have snuck out more. She would have had more fun.
Is she still involved in the military? Like, has she still...
So she had a medical discharge a few years ago. Also, because our kids are the same age, she wanted to spend more time with her kids. So it's kind of like a natural parting of ways. But she does like some consulting work.
Okay.
And then her husband Marvin, my brother-in-law, is still, I don't know, he's something important, like a staff sergeant, or I'm not very versed in it, but he's actively.
Okay.
That's so cool.
It is cool.
Wow, to be that good that the military is like, you.
We want you.
Yeah.
That's
wild.
crazy.
Well, you know what it was? There's a book. Have either of you ever read, or I think there was a movie, Ender's Game?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Okay, so the whole premise is that the government, sometime far in the future, takes these little kids, they're like 5 years old, and they raise them on these video games. And they're playing competitive video games against other kids, and they're training every day on these video games, like in these simulators. And then, spoiler alert, the book's been out like 30 years, so if you haven't had time, like, I'm just going to put it out there. They find out at the end of the book that they weren't playing video games. They were battling in the universe.
Wow.
And they took children because children have an amazing aptitude for like games and technology and like getting in there. And so they find out that they were literally fighting for the fate of the universe against enemies.
Yeah.
But they never told them because they didn't want like the kids couldn't handle the pressure.
Sure.
And they wanted them to be able to make objective decisions without thinking that the whole world would end.
And just thinking like, this is fun.
Right.
What am I going to do to win?
Exactly.
That's so dark.
It's pretty dark.
I know. So when our Air Force started creating what is now our drone program, they sought out tech kids in their 20s who had grown up in the video game era, like doing first-person shooters.
Dang.
And she was a huge nerd, and so was her husband.
That's
and
so
so are
cute.
all the kids that are in that program. I say kids, they were like 18 to 25.
Yeah, that's a kid.
Right. And the Air Force was like, we want you to come fly our drones. And so she was able to take that skill set of like being a nerdy teenager at LAN parties, and now is like using it to do real world.
That's crazy.
Crazy stuff. Yeah.
That is crazy.
Because all of our intelligence is now drone
Yeah.
done.
Right.
So, which is so cool.
Yeah. And terrifying.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
So, yeah, it has changed. So much has changed. I mean, even journalism, like you said, like it's hard to get those jobs, but also like I feel like you are like journalism is becoming what you do, you know, or even podcasts. Like
it
like,
is
yeah.
for sure. So
Like,
it used to be you graduate, you get a job, you work in an office, and you cover your city. When I went to work for the Commercial Appeal in Memphis, which is a huge newspaper, I was covering metro crime. So I would just kind of hang out and something would happen, I would write about it. When they started laying everyone off in 2008, it shifted to where now they're getting their leads from people like us who are sharing info in real time. And then someone from a centralized office for like AP or whoever will reach out to the social media creator or just someone that posted on their Instagram that they saw something. They'll get the story, and then they send reporters to the big. So there's like 8 reporters now instead of 8 in every town.
Right.
So it's completely changed. It's like film development. It's kind of became obsolete.
Yeah, it's so wild. It's cool. It's cool. It's also kind of scary because like the big podcasters, like Joe Rogan, for instance. Like, you know, I used to listen and I really enjoyed him until he would say things that I knew to be wrong, like about the circus or whatever, about like the industry that I knew about that. But he would say it in such a like factual thing. And I was like, holy cow, I remember being like, he's got such a huge following and they're all just being like, oh my God, that must be
Right.
true. And I started being like, oh, it's cool that you're getting the source from people who are real, not like paid media. But then also, like,
should
it's
fact
kind of
check.
scary too.
Yeah.
So it's
Right.
like a mixed bag of, I don't know, like, I don't know how I feel about it. It's these days, I mean, I feel like it's a pretty scary time.
It's horrifying. It's funny
Yeah.
you say that. I just posted a question on my stories about Luigi Mangione,
Oh, yeah.
the CEO, alleged.
Yeah.
It's important to remember that he has presumed innocence.
Yeah.
Even though there's every bit of it, under our justice system, he has presumed innocence. So the alleged CEO.
So he says he
assassin.
didn't do it. I haven't been following that much, other than his shirtless pictures everywhere.
Which is a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, he hasn't entered a plea to that charge. And based on the way his attorney is behaving, I would anticipate a not guilty plea, but only as a way to build time for a defense.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of evidence that suggests that he did it.
Yeah.
But I have a theory because I lived through the Harvest 91 event here in Vegas. Not only was I there, but I was...
You were there.
Well, so I was one of the managers on duty at Excalibur the night it happened. I was also 8 months pregnant. So when it happened, they locked down our property. And as the nearest property that was open to that, everyone ran in.
Oh, my
Excalibur.
gosh.
I don't know if I know what this is.
The October 1st.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay.
So 58 people died that night.
Right.
Yeah.
And 59 if you count Stephen Paddock, but 58. And then a couple more have died since then in related injuries. But that night, our hallways filled up with people who were injured, and they were, there was no way to transport people to the hospitals because they were taking critically injured people.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, everyone who was transported that night survived. So our police force and our medical teams here did an amazing job. But I was there and locked down and a gestational diabetic at the time and couldn't get treatment, and they couldn't get an ambulance to me because I was not actively dying.
Right.
So it was a really horrible 14-hour of dealing with people that were horrifically injured and very upset. And at that time, we didn't know what was going on because a lot of things that we know now, the way that the Strip is built, it's an echo chamber. So if you make a sound at one end of the Strip, it will echo all the way down because it's a big bowl. So everyone felt like the incident was occurring wherever they were, which is why there were tons of calls that came in that said there's an active situation at Bally's or there's an active situation here or whatever. Because it felt like that was the case.
Right.
And we were getting so much conflicting information of there's explosives and they're in the garage and they're, and you're all on lockdown, and we were told to leave money. We were told to leave. There were lit cigarettes on the gaming floor and ashtrays smoking and no one around. It was a very scary situation. And what I learned from that experience is that even when faced with a mountain of evidence, and the sheer fact that you cannot involve thousands of people in a cover-up and then not have someone crack or leak or divert from the generalized plot line, people will never believe what you tell them. They'll believe that it's a conspiracy. They'll believe there's more to it. And I can tell you, not only having been there that night or at Excalibur that night, but being in management with MGM in the following weeks while they were having all these meetings and going through everything, and we had access to stuff before it really got locked down heavily by the company and the feds and everything else, is there's not more to the story. Like security guards, police, there were literally thousands of people that were involved in the efforts that night. And there isn't a big subplot that's being covered up that everyone sat down and had a board meeting about and agreed on.
Yeah.
The evidence always supports the reality of the situation. But anytime I say this to anyone, they say, oh, there's no way he acted alone. There's no way it's not a government cover-up. This was the Saudis. This was this. There were shooters everywhere and all of the, and that's simply not true.
Right.
And all I can come away from this with is that sometimes it's really hard for people to accept that evil people do evil stuff.
Yeah.
Sure.
And sometimes good people do evil things because they're having a moment.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's not any more to the story.
Yeah.
Right.
And real life is messy and it's not linear. And because things don't add up, that's because they never do. It's never A plus B equals C.
Yeah.
So when I posted whether or not people believed that Luigi Mangione was guilty, innocent, or there was something fishy going on, I had over 100,000 people respond to the poll, and it was 75% something fishy is going on.
I voted that one as well.
Did
What?
you?
I did. I voted that one on your story.
hers?
Yeah.
And see, to me, it's very clear that, like,
No, for sure. But I also am like, like I am very much like you. Like, it's black and it's white. Like, if all this evidence is saying it's you, it's most likely you. Like, there's not more to the story.
Right.
Like, I'm not that person that's like,
Occam's
no,
razor,
there's
is
more.
it? Like,
Yeah, like I'm just like that is the story. Like I'm
Right.
believing that that's the story. But like for some, I don't know. I guess, I mean, he did have like like I go through like the whole thing of like, again, I know as much as you do. Like I've pretty much just seen like the memes and things circulating.
Right.
And then I'm like, what is this? Like having to Google it. But I kind of feel like there might be, in the past, I thought that maybe he's just like a ploy for a getaway. Like a different person did it and he's just like in the team of trying to, but then I'm like, probably not.
but you know what? I did a deep dive on why would you think that? Why would I think that? And what we're going to see is this one's going to be even harder to accept because he's handsome. And that's very hard for some reason.
Had a lot going for him.
Right, when they're
Yeah.
young, when they're smart, when they're good looking, when they're charming. There was recently this really horrible murderer, Wade Wilson. And I can say murderer because he was convicted. He's on death row. But he had
The tattoos.
Yeah, super good looking dude. Like he looks like Joker from the Batman, but like hot Joker.
Yeah.
And he had a meth binge, snapped, and like brutally killed 2 people. There's no gray area that this happened.
Yeah.
He was found guilty. The evidence said he did it. And he's getting millions of dollars from like women that are sending him
That's
money.
so crazy.
And like he's engaged to like 14 people.
Oh my
Some of them are
God.
men. And which I only mention that not because it's relevant, but because there's no indication that he's gay. He's literally just like hustling people from
Yeah.
inside prison.
He's on death row, yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
And it's because he's handsome, he's very cocky, he's got all the things that people like. And so I did a deep dive on why people will be inclined to support someone like Luigi Mangione. And you've got one camp who are people that have dealt with the insurance fees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like
Myself included.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
We get it. Or, you know, we have moms or we have children and we think about what it would be like to see them suffer and we're like, murder is bad, but so is what's happening to us.
Yeah.
And someone's got to do something. So you got that camp, but then you have a larger portion of people that you will fall into partially that are just because you're a good and kind person, you don't want to believe that this presumably good and kind person would do this horrible thing. And so
Yeah.
it's easier to think that there must be more to the story when really most of the time there isn't.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
I mean, that makes total sense.
yeah, we don't want
You're
him
like,
to be a bad guy.
I don't want you to be a bad guy.
Right. We want him. He did so good in school.
I
and,
know.
like,
He
like,
literally looks like Luca, Alberto from Luca.
yeah.
And I'm like, he looks
we
like a
love him. We
cartoon
want
character.
him to be okay. And like the moms in us want to even take that a step further. Because like I'm of the age now that I can appreciate that he's a good looking guy, but I'm not looking at him like, ooh. I'm looking at
Right.
him like, gosh, he was valedictorian and he graduated
He had so much
college
going
and
for
He had so
him.
much going for him. Like, just, I'll fix this. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like, and then I
Yeah.
have to remind myself murder is bad.
Yeah, murder is not
and
okay.
we don't do that. But it's similar to, did either of you watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I have a theory that the reason that Game of Thrones is the most amazing show that ever was written is because the guy who in the first episode is pushing a child out of a window so he can bone his sister
Yeah.
is also the guy that in season 7 and 8 we are riding and
Yeah.
dying for. And it's because of the duality of no one is good or bad.
Yeah.
We have good moments and bad moments, but we're all on our own like journey.
Yeah.
And so I think Luigi, probably not a bad guy. I think he got caught in a really horrible moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that any of us could have had a variation of that moment in our
Right.
20s or whenever.
Right. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens too, because he's also like being hailed a hero. So
Yeah,
you're
like a
like,
vigilante of
wait, did I do
sorts.
it or didn't I? Am I a hero or am I a
Right.
patsy? Like,
But that's a slippery slope because even though we kind of low key agree, we can't champion that.
Right.
Yeah.
Because then where is it okay? Like,
Yeah.
who else should we murder in
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
heroics? Like,
Exactly.
we can't allow that.
well, yeah,
I
I'm
could
seeing
think of a few.
seeing a lot of that. There was somebody posted something about, yeah, you can't go around murdering people, and it was like, and then it was a stitch where it's the guy who like signed off on like bombing all those places and wherever. It's like, wait, what?
Right.
Like,
It's tough.
yeah, it's
And
tricky.
who I think it was, I don't know if it was Benjamin Franklin or Jefferson or someone important and far, far removed from current society said that if you don't give people a voice for change, and I'm butchering this, but it's basically like if we don't listen to people using their voice, we will force the violence.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what happened is this person felt ineffectual. So, and who even knew we could 3D print guns, like new fear unlocked, but didn't know that was a thing.
Wait, he did that?
He did. He made the gun. Like,
Oh, I don't think I knew that.
like
either.
arts and
Allegedly.
crafts. Allegedly. And also definitely had it on him when he was apprehended 5 days later.
In McDonald's.
Which,
See,
why didn't he throw that away?
I know.
Here's the thing. I think the problem with the Patsy thing is you're right. I don't think you take a gorgeous young guy. You take the other
Someone
guy.
who's not likable.
Yeah,
Someone
100% that you
right.
can dispose of.
Someone
you know,
that we
like,
won't talk about.
Yeah.
You
And it
know?
also, it's so much easier to put that on him because his life means nothing to him and it's over anyway and he might as well do
Yeah.
this and he lost his this or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like I just think I don't know. I don't know enough about it because like I said, I roll next. I don't want to see any more of it because it's all like shirtless stuff. I just am like, I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, but again, what is he has just denied it. So he hasn't
He's not
said
saying anything. He's exercising his a right to not talk.
right, but he's Italian.
Right.
And he's not from here.
No, he's from here.
He is.
Yeah,
Oh, he's-
like his parents were wealthy Maryland business owners. And so there's a lot of layers to this story. His parents owned assisted living complexes that were kind of like shut down through insurance bureaucracy.
Oh.
His mother had an injury, and through a series of significant denials, he would listen to her like scream in pain.
Oh, okay.
He also had an injury where he went from being like virile and very fit and like doing all the things to being bedridden
Yeah.
because of poor health care. So I don't think there was like one catalyst
Okay.
as much as he was also in the rabbit hole. Like, you know how it's like 3 a.m. and you have a thought about something and then 7 a.m. rolls around and you're like reading about someone's distant cousin
Yeah.
on Wikipedia. I think that's what happened to him is he kind of got into this like consumerism and capitalism are the devil and we're raising a series or a generation of anxiety-ridden youths. And like he put a quote on his ex that kind of resonated with me, so maybe I need more therapy. But
we all?
it said like basically America sets up people in living conditions with expectations designed to make them unhappy and then sells them the cure for their unhappiness.
Which,
Right.
yeah.
Which is true.
Yeah.
You know, so a lot of I think he really nailed home a lot of the feelings that we all have.
Yes.
I think about sometimes like how am I supposed to raise children correctly?
Yeah.
Run a business, have a social life,
Yeah.
drink water.
Yeah.
Exercise and keep my house clean and keep my pets alive. And like I can on any given day I can choose maybe 3 of those things and do them well, which means I have all that anxiety about the other ones that are falling to the wayside. And I think we all live like that.
Yes.
There's never a day when we're just like, oh, I nailed it. I got everything
Yeah.
today. You know, my skin is glowing. And
Yeah. I can't relate.
right. Yeah. Because it doesn't happen. And we set ourselves up for failure.
Right.
So I think he kind of echoes that. And then that added to the fact that he's like good looking and young. And he either speaks to you sexually or speaks to you maternally or speaks to you as like, you know, from a male perspective as like you can see that he's like a fit young guy.
Yeah.
It's hitting all the feels for
Right.
someone. So I think this is a big.
And I bet it's like, because he had something wrong with his back, right? He has
Mm-hmm.
like crazy pins or something in it that like stopped him from being as mobile and all the things that was probably really frustrating for him too. Like now I can't even do half the things that I wanted to do.
Well,
Right.
I've actually been going through that. My back is really bad from old circus wounds, and I need an MRI, and my insurance company kept denying it.
Right,
And they
'cause
sent
that's what
me,
they do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they sent me to physical therapy, and I was like, I'm in pain. The last thing I need to do is fucking work out.
Right.
I went, and the next day I couldn't move because I was in so much pain. And then I went back again, and they pushed me a little harder, and I was like, I'm going to shoot somebody.
Yeah, see?
And then they
So I
to
get
the
it.
point where they're
Here we
like,
are.
have you tried eating
Yeah.
healthier.
Yeah,
And it's like,
yeah.
no, that never occurred to me.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you
Have
for
you tried
that.
going for a walk?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a content creator on TikTok, Dr. Glaucoma Flecken something. I'm saying it wrong, but he's a doctor, like a legitimate doctor. And all of his content is like, hi, United Healthcare. I have a child with like tumors in every part of their body. Can we get chemo? And they're like, have they tried cutting back on sugar?
Oh my god!
Jesus
And it's
Christ.
like, it's meant to be funny, but it
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, so I'm a big proponent for medical aid in dying. Man, I'm going to get canceled after this podcast. So I think that if you are, very sick and you're of sound mind and you're later in life and you've been diagnosed terminal and you want to handle your own health care, that you should have options. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that we should start pushing old people off of cliffs, but I have been involved in scenarios where people were very ill and suffering and needed some assistance. And there are 7 states in our union that allow people to exercise their right to die peacefully if they so choose. And there are many countries elsewhere that do it.
Yeah.
I also know it's a slippery slope, and we have a lot of things that we have to work out before that becomes commonplace here. But there's an issue, and this is an issue I didn't foresee before I became kind of a fan of this, is you've got situations in Oregon where people can choose medical aid in dying, and now insurance companies are getting involved. And they are encouraging patients who are using people who have not expressed an interest in utilizing this option. They're saying, we've kind of come to the end of the road with you. Maybe you should consider. And I'm staunchly opposed
Whoa.
to that.
That seems really not okay.
It should be. So there have been people that have come out and they're like, I want to live. I want to fight until the very last minute. Like, give me chemo and treatment until I literally can't exist on this planet anymore. And that should also be their right.
Yeah.
And their insurance company is like, no, we're good. And it's because their expectancy has crossed the dollar amount.
Can you imagine having to be the person on the phone that's like, actually, we're just gonna end this relationship right here with you. Good luck.
Right. Well,
like, how do you
this
sleep
one
at
final
night?
prescription.
Yeah.
And it's like, and so I'm horrified, and I'm having to reel back some things that I have always believed in.
Yeah.
Because I know that if I come to the end where I can't take care of myself, I would want safe options to no longer be a burden on my loved ones. But at no point should it be acceptable for anyone else to weigh in
to make
on
that decision. Yeah.
And especially not from a financial standpoint.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's
so
wild.
I don't even know where I stand on that anymore.
Yeah,
but
I don't love that.
At the end of the day, the insurance industry there's a lot of problems there.
Yeah, there
for
really
sure.
is. No,
What was the
for
movie
sure.
where they were pushing the old people, or the old people would jump off the cliff? What was that movie? Literally.
I don't know, but I want to see it.
What was that movie? It's the cult one.
Midsummer.
Oh,
Yes,
what a
Midsommar.
weird movie.
Yeah, that movie was weird.
Man.
And then
Yeah.
they showed
Rough.
it when they would fall off the cliff.
Oh,
and you
yeah.
would just be like, okay, I didn't
Yeah.
need to see that.
Yeah, I've watched that like 3 times just trying to figure out what's going on.
Oof.
there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
still don't know.
Yeah, me either.
Like,
That
what's
one's really
happening?
strange.
The best part of that movie is when they start tripping balls the first time, and they're like having those moments, and oh my god, I was dying laughing. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, we've all been there, where it's just like so paranoia kicks in. And,
I kind of dig movies like that though, because they don't follow the predictable patterns.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're just like, wait, what just happened? I
Yeah,
don't
you leave being
understand.
like, what?
Right. Yeah.
There's also
Yeah.
The Giver that also did that, right, where they were killing the old. Like, so that's been a theme for a while in a lot of literature.
So a lot of our modern stories, my kids are picky eaters, and I tell them all the time, there's only like 8 foods. They're just shaped differently. Like, so everything is like comes back to a basic combination of flavors. It's the same thing in storytelling. There's only a few stories, and then every other story is just a variation of that. And so if you go back in like Asian cultures, specifically, I think it's Japan, that used to be part long time ago, where when older people in the family would become too expensive to care for, they would like walk them out to the woods and be like, thanks, Mom.
Oh my gosh.
And there's even an
Wow.
old like folk tale of a young man or a son who's carrying his mother on his back to take her into the forest to leave her.
Oh, I feel like I know this one.
And she's breaking branches off as they go, leaving, oh, it's going to make me cry, leaving a trail so that he'll be
He
able
can
to
come
find
back.
his
He can
way.
go back.
Man.
Because like mamas never
Goodbye.
stop. Yeah, I know.
And now we're both crying.
I know. And whenever I hear that, I'm just like,
Ouch.
because that's how I would be. I
Yeah,
would be
same.
like, you don't need to feed me anymore. I'm expensive, but like, I'll make sure you get home
Yeah.
safe, you know? So
And now I'm crying too.
yeah, it just
Yikes.
makes me bad, but that's where that comes from. So when they do like modern takes on like pushing old people off cliffs, it's because it used to be a practical.
Yeah.
You know, when
Crazy.
you only have so many resources, and so you have to spend them. So.
Right.
But to be clear, Vegas Starfish is not advocating.
Yes, no, not at all. Just telling stories.
Send your older parents to Vegas. That's where you should send them.
yeah.
Like, put them in the wheelchair and ship them to Vegas. We will show them a good time.
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll stick them in front of a slot machine and
Right, we
give them a
have
bag of coins.
Anything you could need.
Yeah,
It's very true.
seriously.
So wait, go back to what you said about, because I have a very picky eater, horrendously picky.
Yeah.
And say that again. Like, what is your tip?
So my kids were very picky, and I did a deep dive because I grew up, and you guys may have too, in the era of like, you will eat what is put in front of you, and it creates trauma.
Yeah.
And so that you've got the one camp of people that are like, we can't raise the participation trophy era
Right.
of kids. Like,
Starve
make
them.
them eat,
Yeah.
make it happen, whatever. And then there's actual science and academics. And the actual science and academics, they've done a ton of these like peer-reviewed studies that show that kids have different taste buds and textures than what we have, and things that are appealing to us will not be to them. It could even be repulsive.
Yeah.
And that the best way to teach your kids to eat a variety of foods is to model that behavior in front of them. So cater to their needs within reason. Obviously, I'm not saying you should let your kid eat like ice cream for dinner every night, but don't stress about it to the point where it's causing a problem. Find some compromised foods that they can live with, and then you eat well in front of them. Unfortunately for you, the trauma's been done, and you're going to have a lot of unscrewing that to work with. But with your kids, if you just model a good variety of food, they will eventually become curious about it. And I didn't believe in all this, and now my 11-year-old is coming out of like the chicken tender mac and cheese, you know, and
The beige foods.
right, yeah, and he the all the things that come from fast food, and he's like, he ate a lamb chop the other day, which is
Wow.
wild.
I don't even like lamb.
I don't either. Yeah, but he was like, I want to try that. That smells good. And I was like,
Ooh, I
"Ooh,
love that."
Yeah, and so, but again, if he doesn't like it, cool. There's no
Yeah.
expectation that you have to finish everything on your plate or whatever.
Yeah.
But in doing the studies about why people are picky and why they don't like them, there's only in every culture, it's like a starch and a protein. That protein might vary, and that starch might vary between like potato or rice or whatever it would be. But it's just about finding a starch and a protein that you can eat for nutritional purposes, and then expanding beyond that because of regional flavors and whatnot. But there's only like a few combinations of food. You know, if you think about it, everything Italian, pizza, all of those are the same foods. It's a carb, tomato, and cheese,
Yeah.
and some variation.
And some meat sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you don't like one, you might be able to find a different variation and then use that as a gateway to work into
Okay.
it. So like my kid would eat pizza, but he didn't want to eat spaghetti. So we
Yes.
started working on, noodles plain first, and then noodles with a little pizza sauce, and then a little bit of cheese, and then now we're eating spaghetti and pizza, and it's just about taking whatever that like flavor profile is, and finding different ways to approach it and add to it. And I've struggled with this because I grew up in Tennessee where you eat like a starch and a meat and a vegetable, and that's it. And now I'm in this foodie world where people are like eating the eggs of unborn cephalopods, and I'm like, I don't know about that. So I'm having to kind of just get over it and struggle through it. And it's sometimes I take a stomach with me, like Las Vegas Phil. Do you guys know him? Mm-mm. He's so good. He's an Asian creator who's a super foodie. So when I get an invite to like a small business and I don't want to do it because it's like poke bowls or something, I'll take him and be like, you eat it and tell me if it's good. And he will. And then I'll use that because
That's nice.
I don't like big chunks of raw fish. Like if it's really buried in like other good stuff, I can do it, but I'm just not a huge fan.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Yeah, our rule in our house growing up was you don't have to like it, but you have to try it.
Right.
And if you put it on your plate, you're finishing it.
Right.
If I serve you and I'm giving you that big portion, you don't have to finish. That's not your fault. But if you put it on your plate, you're finishing it.
Right.
So if your eyes are bigger than your stomach, sorry.
Yeah, I agree with all that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tricky. It's a tricky situation. When he was 3 or 4, I think he was like 4, he was sitting in front of the TV watching cartoons, and he's a big McDonald's guy, like loves chicken nuggets, loves fries.
As they all do.
Yeah.
Me too.
And I feel horrible, being like, yeah, I guess if that's all you're gonna eat. A friend of mine, very wise friend of mine actually said the same thing. They were like, don't fight it. At least there is protein in those chicken nuggets. And there is. So I was like, okay. But anyway, I went to like Whole Foods and I got organic chicken nuggets and I made them and I put them in the chicken nugget box and I put it on his little table while he was watching cartoons. And I sat back in the kitchen, I watched him, and he was like, opened the thing, was watching cartoons, picked it up, went, and then he looked over at me and was like, what is this? I was like, fuck. It's like, are you kidding me? I didn't even look at it. He just felt it and like smelled it and knew. I was like, son of a bitch.
So most of the problems that come from like bad food and stuff like that come from overindulgence. Kids really haven't learned that yet. So they really just eat when they're hungry, and the difference, like the macro differences in the organic nuggets and the McDonald's nuggets, in the amount of food they're going to consume is not hugely significant. Like, I'm not at all saying that McDonald's is good, and I'm definitely not a nutritionist. I'm saying that the whole campaign that kind of changed for women in, I think it was the early 2000s, where everyone was shaming women who formula fed their babies. And then someone came out with the expression, fed is best.
Yeah.
And I have kept that with me. It doesn't matter how you feed your kid. I mean, again, not ice cream for dinner, but if you're getting protein in your kid, it's a win.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, don't beat yourself up over it. Now, if they're eating a bag of Twizzlers instead of protein, like, then you're messing up. But like,
Twizzlers.
The goal should just be to have some semblance of nutritional value every meal, and then it does get better. You know, my little one's still a nightmare. Like, he's like, I only want mac and cheese from this particular place, and it must be this temperature. And I'm like,
this temperature.
Right. And I don't indulge all
shell.
of that. But, like, sometimes I do get frustrated. I'm just like, well, you know, you're going to have an apple for dinner. And then I immediately remember that, like, people way smarter than me have said, like, be patient. He's working his stuff out. And it has worked with my older one. My older one now is like,
that's great.
Oh, I want to try this or whatever.
I bet it's nice to like be able to come with you to restaurants too and
so
see
great.
all these things. Like, oh my gosh, that looks way better than these French fries that have no flavor.
But it's also great for me to like be able to eat with him like he's a human.
Yeah.
Instead of like go to the restaurant and be like, look, I'm going to come in. I'm going to spend a lot of money on dinner. Can my kid bring nuggets in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And then they're like judging you like you're the iPad parent kids. And, you know, and then I want to tell them like my sister was an iPad kid. Well, she wasn't iPad because we weren't of that generation, but like she played video games all the time and it really worked out well for her.
Yeah, she's doing great. She's thriving, okay? So
Just don't judge me. Yeah. And I hate that too. Like, oh, we shouldn't let our kids have too much time in front of screens or whatever while we're literally
24/7
like making our livings off of our devices, you know? And it's so, and this is what I mean. We can't do it all in one day.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I struggle with that too because like I notice it like if my son if he's grounded for whatever reason, I take his cell phone away. I do see a difference in him.
Right.
Like just being more. Obviously, he doesn't have a choice. Like he has to be more present and
How
more.
old is he?
He's 15.
Okay. See, that's a realm I'm not in yet. But
Brace yourself.
Yeah. I also think, though, that it's different for them, too, because, like, when we're, like, you probably don't get a ton of hate comments.
I think I just don't see him.
Okay. But so I do, because people would be like, that restaurant is trash. You clearly suck or whatever.
Oh.
And, like, I'm able to kind of, like, it gets to me, but I'm able to shut that down and be like, this is obviously someone who's dealing with something. But at 15, they don't have that, you know? So,
yeah,
like,
for sure.
It's tough. I don't know. So do you just let him be online or?
I don't think he's really on. Like he'll scroll through TikTok and just watch videos, but like he doesn't really post much on social media to get any type of negativity like fed into him.
Right.
But he sees it, he watches it, but he's mostly texting with friends, like on Snapchat, texting friends, and like they send 1 million photos to each other a day.
Everything.
Yeah. So but like when he's not doing that, I'm like, wow, you're like, don't get me wrong, I think he's amazing when he is doing that. But like when he's grounded or for whatever reason and he's more present and not on his phone, I'm like, I see a difference in you. Like just he's happier, he's getting more sleep, like all the things. So but then again, it's like a double-edged sword, right? Because same thing, like I'm sitting on my phone 24/7 scrolling and looking and digging and going down rabbit holes. And
it's as negative as it is, that's also how we get our information and we learn about things. I'm scared of the porn thing.
Yeah.
Because I have 2 boys. We're not there yet. But not porn because I'm bothered by it, but because there's been a lot of studies at this point that say that it is ruining entire generations of sex lives and expectations and how men view women and how men treat women and how it impacts their belief on like how interactions between humans should go.
Right.
And that it takes like the element of like love and romance and prioritizes things that have their time and place, but certainly shouldn't be on the forefront of like courting and relationship development. So I'm wondering how I'm going to navigate all of that, because it's unrealistic to be like, don't look at this, you know, because, you know, human nature. But I just worry that and not just porn, but social media, like scrolling on TikTok, I worry that the girls that they're going to see, or the behaviors that they're going to see, that they're going to somehow set that as the standard.
Absolutely.
And it's so curated.
Yeah.
And we all know that.
Sure.
Right.
But you can't tell the 15-year-old boy that like the perfect influencer that he's seeing that has everything staged and edited and all that is a realistic or an unrealistic expectation.
Yeah.
Of like femininity or a girl or
Right.
There's so many things.
Yeah, there's so many layers.
So many things to sift through in that. That's even like Facetune and all that stuff too. Like all the.
It's all fake.
Oh, it's so scary.
Yeah, and so much emphasis now is placed on physical aesthetic, which is understandable because we're all marketing packages. We're all like selling something by way of ourselves. And even though I'm subject to it, I don't want my kids to, you know, like think that their worth revolves around someone else's approval.
Right. Yeah, that's hard. The instant gratification or instant validation, they need that 24/7 these days.
Right.
As an influencer, you did something pretty cool, which I feel like, you know, I think people think of influencers as like, oh, we watch them, we go, you know, they go do stuff, and then we're like, they tell us what's good. But you did something kind of fun. A few episodes ago, I said that there was a show that I heard wasn't very good, and you reached out to me and was like, hey, that show's actually pretty good. And I was like, and then the person reached out to me, and they were like, hey, why don't you come make that decision for yourself? And we did.
We did.
And we loved it.
It was so
and it was
fun.
like, it was so cool that worked out that way too, because it doesn't, like, you know, like you never think of an influencer being like, hey, you should go see this. Like, right, we just listen to what you say to go. But it was so fun. It was what is it called? The Magician's
Study.
Yeah. Is that right? And we had such a fun time. It was so fun.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you guys loved it. But I also want to put out there, because I know we understand what we're talking about, but basically you had a guest, Vegas Policy.
Oh,
I'm going to put it out there, who does not like me for a litany of reasons. And I don't know if you watched the material that I sent you, but essentially he is a New Yorker who wanted to launch a business here in Vegas, and he reached out to me and said, I would like you to create content for me. And I looked at the business he was proposing, Casino Comp Wallet, and I said, I do not believe this is viable. Here's why, because that's something that I try to do with anyone I work with. I don't believe that the casinos will place their comps next to competitors in an app when they all have their own proprietary comps or platforms that they want to drive traffic to. MGM wants you to download their app.
Right.
Caesars wants you to download theirs, and they are not going to allow you to price shop them. So it would be a bad business move. Okay. So it had nothing to do with him. It just wasn't a viable business, and it has proven not to be viable. Yeah. So, but he offered me a lot of money, $4,000 a month, at a time when I was just starting out. I only had a couple 100,000 followers. So I said, look, I will create content for you to use, but I will not use my voice on your channel, and I won't tell people that they should invest in you or work with you, because I don't think it's viable. But I will make videos about Vegas without using my voice for you to post, and I will let everyone know that I'm in this arrangement with you. And he was like, cool, let's do it. We worked together for about 8 months. I believed us to be friends. It was cool. He would occasionally ask me to go to a resort or film something for him to post on his channel, and as part of my job, I felt like that was an appropriate ask. He came to me and asked if I would do Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. So it was quite a distance away, but like, I'm down. You know, it was exciting. And I also believed we were becoming friends.
Yeah.
So like, he's like, do you want to go shoot this casino in Connecticut? And I was like, absolutely, let's do it. He said, how much extra would it cost you to do this? And I was like, nothing. You pay me well. Like, I'm happy to. This is part of the scope of my services. Let's go. The night before I was supposed to go, Mohegan Sun reached out to me and said, we have some questions about your writer. And I was like, I don't have a writer. Like, I'm staying at the Motel 6 shooting content on an iPhone. Like, I don't get it. And they were like, no. you have asked for like this suite and $1,000 shopping and a party with the DJ and alcohol and all that. And I was like, I am a social introvert. I would never go to that party. Like, no, thank you. I'm good. I said, you need to talk to Paul. And they said, your manager? And I was like, can you send me the material you're looking at?
Yeah.
Their social media manager, who is still their social media manager, Nick, sent me the contract that they had received from Paul. And it said in the contract, Vegas Starfish and Mohegan Sun. There was no mention of Casino Comp Wallet anywhere, which was what I thought we were working on. And at the end, it said, pay the $10,000 appearance fee to Paul Contino. And I didn't know I had an appearance fee. I also, until that moment, didn't know I could ask for one. So that was great for me because now that I know that. So I confronted Paul and I expected him to be like, oh my gosh, I had this idea and they went for it and I'm excited. And like he could have BS'd me and we'd still be working together. He immediately flipped the switch and was like, you're a stupid girl. You could be a Kardashian. Let me broker the deals. You stay out of it. I pay you. So if I'm able to utilize you elsewhere, then like what business is it of yours? And I was like, holy shit. So I immediately canceled my trip to Mohegan Sun. I told them I would do their property at a future date, but not on this trip. I blocked him on every platform. And I was like, this effectively ends our relationship immediately. I gave him the passwords to his account and I wished him well. He came back with he like made a new number and messaged me and was like, I will burn you to the ground. I will live the rest of my life to ruin you. I am the asteroid that's going to kill the dinosaur. You are the dinosaur. All of this like chaotic, crazy stuff. And I went to people that I love and trust and I was like, what do I do? And they were like, people get upset and they say things and then it goes away. Mm-hmm. It didn't go away. Yeah. It's been years. Oh, wow. And like, it's still like, and it has proven to be great marketing for him because there's going to be people who naturally don't love my content or they find me annoying or they just like controversy because controversy is cool. Right. So they gravitate to the person who's always talking shit because chaos is fun. We love a dumpster fire. So I have kind of learned to exist in that space where I don't acknowledge it. I don't talk bad about him. I'm a little sad about it. I think if he came forward and was like, hey, I was a real tool and I definitely trashed your name to get views, but like, can we coexist? I would be like, absolutely, I'm exhausted. Let's coexist.
It is
like,
exhausting.
We're not going to barbecue together, but like we cannot despise each other. That would be fine.
Right.
That hasn't happened and it won't happen because it's far more marketable for him to clout chase. Yeah. And so that's fine. I have learned to deal with it. But where it upsets me is he said he never says no to an interview, whereas I am socially awkward and I say no to everything. I would rather just be at home making videos and like checking analytics. And so when he did the podcast with you guys and he spent the last hour trashing the way I look, the way that I talk, everyone I've ever worked with, I didn't get upset until he started trashing businesses that he thinks I'm being paid by because all of his relationships are transactional. Even when he's like, I pulled these people out of poverty and started a taco shop, like there's always a business angle, which mad respect. Like if you can make it work and make a living, like you do you. But a lot of my relationships are not business relationships. And the Magician Study is one of those. He reached out to me like 2.5 years ago. And I know he's going to see this. But he sent me a message on Instagram and he's like, would you like to see a magic show? And I was like, absolutely not. That sounds terrible.
Immediately, no.
No. Starting with Chris Angel, I am not a fan. None of them. Yeah. Like, don't want to hang out with them, don't want to meet them, whatever. And then he wrote back just one word. It said, please. And I was like, damn it. So I was like, I will come tonight, but understand that if it sucks, I'm not going to tell anyone about it. And I went in and there were 4 people in the audience and 2 of them were me and the girl I brought with me.
Oh my goodness.
And he gave this amazing performance that was so personal. And like, even though I know some of the tricks and I know it's not, like obviously it's mechanisms. It's not magic isn't a thing. I know.
What do you mean?
But he did it in such a way that I found myself wanting to believe that it was magic and then like wanting to just be in his space because he's just such a person. And so at the end of the show, I went up to him and I said, I am going to blow you up. And he was like, thank you. I'm sure that you will. Have a nice night. And you could tell that it was just defeat. Like he was trying, but he didn't really have like a path. And so I made the video. It blew up. 3 days later, this gentleman and I never exchanged names or phone numbers. It was all through IG. He called me at home. I still don't know how he got my number. And he said, and he was like emotional. And he was like, I want you to know that like I was at the point of like calling it all in, like end of the road for me, out of assets, out of avenues. He said, I knew I had this great show, but I wanted it to be a secret. And the problem when you have this great show that's a secret is nobody knows about it. And he thought that word of mouth would carry him. But at 20 people in audience at a time, people go back to Wisconsin and tell their neighbor, if you ever go to Vegas, this is amazing. It just wasn't helping him.
Sure.
So the video did, and it sold him out for like the rest of the year. And he was like,
amazing.
I want to thank you. Like, can we have dinner? Can we talk? So we went and met. I don't even remember where we went now. And he is one of my dearest friends.
Oh, I love that.
In the entire world. Like, my kids think he's their weird magician uncle. Like,
That's so cute.
Sends them gifts when he comes back.
Have they seen the show?
They have seen. So for my oldest child's birthday this year, we hired transportation and brought all of his friends down to the Strip, and he did a kid-friendly version.
Oh, my God.
How fun.
Which was really cool.
So cool.
And my little kid loves him. I won't mention where he's from because he likes to be anonymous. But when he comes back from his country of origin, he always brings them like chocolates and stuff like
so
that.
sweet.
He's the kind of person that he can't pass a dog. Like, it can be on the other side of the street, and he has to run over and like pet it and talk to it. And I just love him. And so when I heard his business being attacked through no fault of his own, the person, Paul, who is attacking him, hasn't seen the show. That's the thing. And that's where I feel like we kind of get into, you mentioned Joe Rogan is saying things that aren't true.
Yeah.
One of my biggest issues with Paul is not that he's a competitor. Honestly, he's not. We aren't competing for anything.
Yeah.
Nor will we ever. It's the fact that he doesn't do the work to be responsible. And so the correct thing to do would be to go see the show. And then if he hated it, give a negative review. Like, that's fair.
Yeah.
But don't trash what is legitimately a small business because you don't like me.
Yeah. That's
Like,
crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
And that's why I reached out because to me it was like a horrible thought that this fantastic show, legitimately good, would be negatively impacted because someone who hasn't even seen it wants to hurt me.
Right.
He also trashes lip-smacking foodie tours. He calls them the finger-licking food. It's lip-smacking foodie tours. That's another thing is that I made a video for that guy, Donald Contursi. He's family also at this point, and blew him up, changed his life. He immediately wanted a meeting. He offered me a job. I accepted. I no longer do that job for him because he wanted me to like make content, and I've just kind of grown beyond that. But we are still like, I talked to him all morning leading up to today, like about other business openings and stuff. He is my greatest mentor. He has helped me structure my business and set me up for success. He introduced me to every chef and restaurant on the Strip so I can walk into any kitchen and film whatever I want.
That's awesome.
He's amazing. Did it start out as business? Sure. But like, you can't be, just like you guys come from an entertainment background. You know that everyone is connected.
Yeah.
Everyone talks. Like everyone, you see the same people over and over again and you start to care about them.
Yeah.
So to have another small business trashed because he wants to hurt me is, I can't.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that makes so much sense. And, you know, when the magician reached out to me, like we had a back and forth, and I grew up in Chicago and I was in theater, and like same thing, like, you know, the smallest bad review will just tank your whole show. And like, but something like this, like it, so we just kind of had like a connection of like, and I'm not a huge fan of magic either.
I'm not either. I hate all of it. Yeah.
But when we saw, and you know, we were like, you know, I feel like I owe it to him as an artist to go and like, you know, and I wasn't planning on coming on trashing. We were just like, well, we just won't talk about it if it's not good. You know, we're not in the business of, this is not what the show's about. But we loved it, and like
We did love it.
We did, and you know, the show is so fun. It's not just magic, you know. It's like there's character. There's like, you know, I was joking with him about like one of my favorite things is how more disgruntled he gets as the show goes on, where he's getting madder and madder. It's so fun. Like I loved it. So if you're not into magic, like there's fun like character work. You know, there's fun like it's fun. It's just fun. It's a fun night, and you're in it in this intimate space and you're in it with all the rest of this small group. You know, you feel like you're a little group that you're not together, but you're like
you become a team of sorts.
Yeah.
I agree with you so much, and so to be clear, I hate the magic. I hate all magic, but what I love is the showmanship.
Yeah.
And coming from a creative space myself, I recognize like just the adaptability and like the wit and the intellect. And what's crazy is, like, I'm sure you guys are, and like I am, when he's not in that capacity, he's like the very quiet guy, like, you know, ski jacket and a beanie in the back of the restaurant. Like, you know, he's not bothering anyone, but when he's on, he's on.
Right.
And I have seen the show probably 50 times at this point, because whenever someone comes to town, like a celebrity or a high profile creator, and they're like, what can we do that's really special? I'm like, you have to go do this. And a lot of times they want me to go too. So I do it. And I never get tired of the show, not because of the magic. I could do the magic at this point. Like, if he needs a stand-in, I'm on it. It's the interaction with the guests, and it's different every time. And people, whenever he gets a negative review, which isn't often, his reviews are almost perfect, but every like 3 months he'll get someone that's like, clearly the whole front row were all plants.
Oh yeah, he did tell us about that. He was like, people just think that you guys are part of the show, and I'm
and
like,
they're not.
Matter of
fact, when I'm there, he won't even involve me in anything because he's afraid someone will think that I'm in on it. And at this point, I probably would be. But, you know, but what's crazy about it is he has a plan A, B, C, D, E, and F for whatever you could throw at him. So I've been there when there's a bit where he makes something appear on someone, and sometimes it goes flawlessly, and then sometimes they become aware of it before he's ready for them to, and he has a plan for that. And then sometimes someone else will be like pointing to that person and saying like, you have that going on, and he has a plan for that. And so what I love watching the show is seeing him have to go through like the backup reels.
100%.
And after the show, I'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe you had to go that far down the list of like emergency contingencies.
Totally.
But it's just cool. And I love Vegas so much. And I love the amount of talent that we have in this city. And Absinthe is my favorite big production show. What I love about Absinthe is kind of the same thing as you go in, and yes, Gaz, and you're familiar with the show.
We were both in it.
Oh, okay. There you go.
We opened the show.
So Whittles, Wanda, and Gaz are there. That's always going to be kind of the same. But what you get, that different element, is the crowd interaction. And the acts. Because they're in real time and it's not you can't script some of that stuff. Watching them adapt to curveballs and like handle things and the way that the team works cohesively, it's magic.
It's awesome.
Good magic. You know? Watching I went I see it all the time. I saw it again just a couple of weeks ago, and the first person they invited on stage for the lap dance segment refused. And so Gaz, it was the older Gaz, who I love. It's
Voki.
Like the OG one.
Was it Voki?
I believe so. I don't know them personally. But he decided that he was just going to give this guy the wrath of hell for the rest of the show, and spent the remaining like 40 minutes calling him a pussy every chance he got. Like, even when it didn't make sense. And it was funny, and then it got to the point where it wasn't funny. It was kind of like, oh my God. And then it was so inappropriate that it became hysterical. And like, it was magic. It was so good.
It's so true. Great. And it feels so like, it feels raw, and it feels dangerous, and you feel like, because even watching the magician thing, like something happened on one of the bits, and I was like, oh no, that girl just said what I think actually it's supposed to be. But then you just kind of like see it unfold and where he takes it. Actually, after the show, I had asked him, I said, did you come from street performing? Because that's what street performers do. They have to be fast, you know, like they have to take whatever it is. And he was like, no. And Voki, gazillionaire, he had done street performing. He was a clown. He went to clown college. He was a clown. He's like worked with audiences a lot. And just having like that feeling of like, oh shit, is fun. You know what I mean? Like it's things, and for us, like on stage, like I remember when things would go wrong is when we would have the most fun. And I'm terrified of improv. Like I never liked it. But I'm good at it. But I'm afraid I'm not going to be there.
Like it's not going to land.
But I think a lot of you have that fear, and that's what makes you great.
Exactly.
Is that anxiety and then nailing it. And that's what makes the magician, whose name I won't use because that would not be fair to him. That's what makes him great, is the ability. But he sweats it every time. Like he'll get out of a show and he'll text me and be like, oh my God, everyone in the front row was drunk. People were passed out. Here's what I did. And I'm like, and then he'll sweat it and he'll be like, I know I'm going to get negative reviews. And he'll get reviews and it's like, that was amazing. It was awesome. But I think all of you, and I say you in a loving sense, creators, have this imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Where you're like, they're going to figure out that I have no idea what I'm doing.
Huge. I've had it my whole life.
He talks about that a lot.
Yeah.
He's always like, I have the worst imposter syndrome.
I do too, yeah.
When Holly was on, we talked about it, and she said something really interesting that I never thought of. She was like, well, the good thing about imposter syndrome is you got to be killing it to have it. I was like, oh my God, I never thought of
that. I'll have people reach out, like crazy people that shouldn't be talking to people like me, like people who own casinos.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, do you want to come to this dinner? And I'm like,
yeah.
are you
like
confused? like, obviously, yes, but you will be disappointed, sir. Like, I am not whatever it is you think.
Yeah,
and
I feel you.
And when people don't have that. So the owner of Lip Smacking Foodie Tours, Donald, has never had imposter syndrome, and he's also killing it. His mental health is like wherever it should be. Like it is.
Oh, good for him.
He is never worried about anything.
Jesus.
And I'll be like, are you upset that you didn't get the invite? And he's like, no. He's like, I'm sure it was, like, it would never occur to him that he didn't get invited to something because they didn't want him. He just assumes that it was like some sort of clerical error or whatever. Meanwhile, if I get an invite 3 minutes after everyone else, I'm like, oh my God, they hate me. It's over. This is the end.
Internalizing.
I feel like we're kindred spirits because I am the same way, and it's like debilitating.
It is, but the magician is right there with us, and he has a lot of anxiety over. He'll get 50 amazing reviews, and then he'll get one that was like, and he's like, it's over. I'm the worst magician ever. And every once in a while, like after I sent him your podcast and he heard it, he wrote back and he was like, well, maybe Paul's right. I was like, Paul hasn't seen your show.
Yeah, don't
I was
ever.
like, why would you let that get to you? And I was like, I'm gonna fix this.
That's funny.
But yeah, I think that that's normal for us, and I think that that's also what makes us committed to our art and great in different ways. Because if there was ever a point when you were like, I'm the best, then why would you strive to do anything else?
Yeah.
Like it would end right there.
It's true. Yeah.
I love your perspective on things. Like, honestly, this whole conversation has been so just like uplifting and given like encouraging. And I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm like, you're filling my cup. Seriously.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
People thought we were just going to talk about burgers and hot dogs.
Oh no, but there
we
are
will.
some good ones. Yeah, there's some good ones.
When we were in Absent, I did a high wire act, and it was at the very end of the show, and they used to do the stripper thing at the end of the show while we were setting up the wire.
Is it Chicks on Sticks? That one?
No, that one wasn't in it when we were there.
So good.
Yeah.
We're talking 13 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember when, I guess you had to, when Absinthe was like almost in danger of going away because no one was seeing it and then everyone saw it? Like, I remember my awareness of Vegas was right when that was going on and they were talking about canceling it because Spiegel World is so weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I love Spiegel World.
Sure.
And my few interactions with Ross have been very enlightening. Like, I appreciate really eccentric crazy people, good crazy people with good intentions.
Yeah.
You know, I appreciate people who see things through a different lens, and I feel like the Spiegel World vision took a minute to kind of catch on, but I really feel like it's there now.
No, yeah, for sure.
Oh, 100%.
We actually opened Absinthe, so it was like when it first, it was the first original in a white tent. It was only supposed to be there for 6 months because we didn't have like the permits to keep it and like
it was
all
a Spiegel
the things.
tent.
Yeah.
So it was like the original Spiegel tent that had the mirrors in it inside on the beams and everything.
Yeah.
And like,
Oh, I wish you could have seen that one.
It was so beautiful, all wood and like, but it wasn't to code for like the winds and stuff like that. And there used to be, I don't know if there still is, there used to be an order in Las Vegas that you could only have a structure up for 6 months. And you could, and that's what our contract was 6 months. And they had to put a HVAC in it. They had to make it like a permanent structure for Caesars to be able to keep it. And so we were I was living in Chicago at the time, came here, was like, okay, I'm going to rent my place for 6 months in Chicago and I'll go back. And then eventually it did take off, and we were like, so what's going on? Are we extending? And nobody knew. And Ross would like come walking through, and we were like, hey, excuse me. And like, so the original roller skaters that were in that went over to V at Planet Hollywood. And they were like, the high wire act and the roller skating act was like the big numbers that people would talk about because they were fucking crazy.
Yeah,
you know, like you thought that you were going to get killed watching that act.
Right.
And we didn't know what was happening. And finally, the skaters got poached by Saks, and they brought them over to that. And we were like, okay, I guess this is not going to happen. And one day, Ross came. I was like, listen. I was like, we're going to have to bounce because we need to get jobs because like what's going on?
We got to make money.
And he was like, no, it's fine. And we all had contracts, just not signed. And I was like, look, you need to sign this. Otherwise I'm going to take this gig, blah, blah, blah. She was like, he grabbed it, and we walked into the dressing room, and we went over to the Green Fairies like little area. He grabbed her lipstick and signed my contract, and it looks like blood.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Do you
what a
still
fun
have
story.
that?
Yeah, oh yeah, I must have it. I must have it somewhere. But it was like, oh, I guess we're staying. And then it was only supposed to be like a year extension, and it just was like
Yeah.
on and on and on.
But that's what makes Ross and that whole vision so magical. So every time they open something new, I'm like, this is the worst fucking idea I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
Atomic Saloon, I hated that show.
Really?
I hated
I
it.
never
I
saw
haven't
it.
seen it.
So
Yeah.
I love it now, but again, everything is so left field over. So funny thing about Atomic Saloon, it's weird, but there was a male or a female nun who had a husband in the show, and she was in the military, and part of her gig was to shoot ping pong balls from an orifice under her skirt, and she got deployed or called to like active duty, and they were like, what are we going to do? And her husband was like, I can do it. And they were like, sure, this seems reasonable. So for a long time, I don't know if it still is, it was a male pretending to be a female nun who shot ping pong balls from her lady bits, who didn't actually have lady bits. But like, that's kind of like...
Hold on. Are you telling me that he shot him out of his ass?
I'm not... I think the whole thing was a bit.
Okay.
So...
That's amazing.
But,
I was hoping.
Yeah, no, but it was a bit because it's under skirts.
Yeah,
So
okay.
it's some sort of mechanism,
I
but
see.
it's just the fact that like the layers of like
Yeah.
weird
Yeah.
is so synonymous with Spiegel World and, Disco Show. When they first announced it, I was like, now I'm finally at the point where I'm like, there's a vision and it will be amazing, even if it's weird.
Yeah.
And we will adapt to them, not vice versa.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know, when they opened Super Freako, the then social media manager for Spiegel World at that time was a friend of mine. We are since, I think he works for the city now. I don't know. We haven't kept in touch. But the first week Super Freako was open, the reviews would say things like, my wife and I were having a nice dinner, and then someone came in and started dancing on the counter next to us, and they lifted their skirt, and they were wearing a giant bush, and hair fell into our pasta. This place is terrible, 1 star. And I was like, oh my God, this is terrible. But then
Sounds amazing.
People started digging it.
Amazing.
And they, there's a guy who walks around and he's like trying to like sell you drugs or knives or whatever. And it's like, you don't know if they're Vegas guests or if it's Spiegel World
Right.
people.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden people stopped caring and they were just like, this is cool.
Yeah.
This is weird. Like weird. And now they're crushing it.
Yeah.
So they're geniuses.
It's
They really
it
are.
always. I mean, it's always been that way with them. Like, because they did that show in New York, and it was like, it was way before they did it here, and it was always you had Broadway, you had the stuff that was standard, and then you had them, and it was like it's the same thing. It took a while for people to be like, holy shit, like it's reinventing like entertainment, and it's like catching you off guard. There's other shows that do that, but like he's got a when we did the I pitched the High Wire Act. I created that High Wire Act for the show, and Gazillionaire, the original Gazillionaire, was one of my friends, and I said, hey, are you guys going to Vegas? I was like, why don't you pitch him a High Wire Act? And they were like, no, it's too small. The tent's too small for a while. We've tried it before. And I was like, no, that's why it's going to be amazing in there, because people are going to be like, they're going to fall on us.
Right.
So eventually he was like, fuck it, let's do it. If you think you can do it, let's. And that's Ross. Like,
Right.
he's like, let's go for it.
Yeah.
And in fact, when we opened in the new tent, once we extended, we used to have these lines outside of where we had our balancing poles, and they were basically to kind of like in case we fell, the poles wouldn't fall. But it was this one line, and we never really thought we were going to fall. But the fat guy, actually fell one night, and his pole went into the audience and hit somebody in the head. They had to stop the show, and it was the person in marketing's boyfriend that it hit.
Yeah, it was
Luckily.
like it was
Luckily.
press
Luckily.
press
Yeah.
night.
Super
Yeah.
lucky. Yeah, press night. Super lucky.
Yeah.
13 staples.
Yeah. The ambulance had to come and take him away, but like that was that show. It's
That's
like
the
you
dangers
never
of
know.
it.
Yeah.
The skaters like could have fucking killed somebody.
Oh
with that
no,
shit.
she did once. Not the original, but one of them. I think didn't she black out?
That
I think
was when they went
happened at
over to B. Yeah.
She like blacked out and like let go during
Well,
the head spin,
Yeah. The next
and
spin.
she flew into the audience.
It was cutting her there, and
no.
she's supposed to reach up and grab, and then they unhook him, and her arms wouldn't come up because she was out. And he was like, holy shit, what do I do? And he had to like slow down, and as he did, she flew into a bunch of Asian tourists.
Oh
I know. I don't think anybody was hurt, but
not to come full circle with what we talked about earlier, but isn't it wild that like so many people would see that and not people go to these shows and there's such an assumption of safety.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they don't realize that like it's literally hanging by a thread at any given moment.
Yeah.
And they assume that the magician is using plants. They assume that you guys have some sort of contingency plan to not kill them.
Yeah.
But it's like really like not that deep.
Yeah.
Like it could go sideways at any moment.
Yeah. You know, when I say I don't like I really don't like magic that much, but you know who I always liked also is I like Penn and Teller.
I love Penn and Teller.
Because it's not real. I
don't consider it magic either. It's showmanship.
And but their magic is beautiful. Like their artistry, like especially Teller does this stuff sometimes, and it feels like it feels almost like oldie timey theater or oldie timey movies, like silent films and stuff. The way he has this like old classic feel to him that I love, and I feel like he's taking you back in time and stuff. And anyway, so Teller came and saw Absinthe, and Ross every night a celebrity would come. We would gather around and we would take a press picture. And one night Ross was like, "Can we do something different? All we do is we stand around, take a picture." And I said to Teller, I was like, "Do you want to sit on my shoulders and I'll take you across the high wire?" And I was joking, and he was like, "Sure." And I looked over at Ross. He was like, "Can you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can." I was like,
I'm not sure it's a great idea.
Question mark.
But I looked at him again, and he was like, "Yeah, let's do it." Because in his head, just that, he was like magic. He was like, "You're not going to fucking do that with me if you don't think you can.
Right.
You're not going to try, right?"
Yeah, at least
and he was right. But I just never heard anybody be so like. And then after that, everyone did. Like Neil Patrick Harris did. Everybody would do it on my shoulder. Sounds dirty, but like it became a thing. But it was that mentality, especially with magic. You know that like your physical, like ability is there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You know, funny thing about Penn, I saw his show long before I was doing what I was doing now, and this was before 2016, so it was before everyone became political. And he was doing a bit in his show where he was like, and if you go into the gift shop, we sell these tiny little Declaration of Independences. And he's like, you should purchase one because they're made of metal. And he's like, you should purchase them and you should put them all over your body so that when you go through TSA at the airport, they have to keep removing these tiny little bills of rights or whatever. And like the audience is kind of like, and I was like, oh my God, that's brilliant.
That's brilliant. That's hilarious.
Like, that's so funny.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
And I know everyone else like, shut up and do the magic, man. But like, I'm sitting over here like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You're like, how many can I buy?
Right.
How many do you have in
it's
stock?
so like nuanced
Yeah.
humor that was like, and I'm just like, I love this
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
And so I did like a deep dive on him and learned that like, they're weird and they're cool and like their families like it's just, I love everything that they have going on. But I appreciate, I think, great creators in any context. Another one that you guys would really like is the Mac King show.
Oh, ever since I've been in Vegas, people have been trying to get me to see that.
You should go.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to go because it's a kids magician show at 3:00 at the Excalibur. Like I would probably sign up for a dental appointment first. The magician made me go. He was like, and I said, so I kind of have a deal where if we're friends and you own a sushi restaurant and I say nice things about sushi restaurant, without you asking and certainly without paying me, I'm not going to go to your biggest competitor and be like, this place is also awesome, because it's a dick move. And before I'm a business and I'm also a person who has relationships in this city. So I'm not going to like go out of my way to make your life difficult, especially if we have a good thing, So I don't go around saying like Shin Lim is also amazing. Like he's fine. Shin is okay. The only magician I'm going to recommend to you is the one that I really want to see succeed. Not because he's the only good one, but because he is good. And that's all I have to say about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's great. See him. See whoever else you want to see. But the magician came to me and was like, I want you to do a video on Matt King because like people don't understand that he's the greatest showman in Vegas. And I was like, ugh. So I went and it was amazing.
Oh my gosh.
He is straight out of classic. Like the magic doesn't matter. It's good.
Right.
He eats a guinea pig in real time. But he's a showman in a way that you guys would appreciate.
Yeah.
Like he's so good, and we won't have him much longer because he's like close to that retirement age.
Sure.
I think he's in his 70s, maybe
Yeah.
late
Oh,
60s.
geez.
Yeah. But he's like Siegfried and Roy era
Yeah.
Like he entertains, and he's working with probably like a budget of, I don't know, $70 a show. Like it's not much.
Right.
And he makes you feel like you're transported to like, it's just wonderful.
Okay, we'll have to go. We
I'm
should take the
telling you,
kids.
there's been handfuls of people from Chicago, New York, who've all been, have you seen Mexican?
He's so good.
I'm always like, but I'm like you though. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, like
And
I
it's
don't want
all,
to do that.
it's also like, it's like a weird place too, isn't it? Like,
It's
that's
the
like,
Excalibur.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
the Thunder from Down Under sweaty showroom.
Ew.
And I used to work at Excalibur, and those guys, first of all, a lot of them are dating each other.
Yeah.
Which is great for them.
Yeah.
But they all live together in like, or they used to, in a house in like Rhodes Ranch, because they're entertainers. They don't make what anyone thinks that they make.
Yeah.
Like, and they would eat like piles of cold cuts and hard boiled eggs every day for lunch because they're trying to
Sounds
protein
stinky.
load. So, but they were the nicest guys in the world and really care about their show. And I don't know if it's the same group of guys because this was like years ago, but just cool camaraderie between all of them.
Yeah.
But Mac is in their showroom, and like several nights a week, it's the Bee Gees cover band from
Yeah.
Australia. Bee Gees Underground or
Sure.
something. I don't know. And then several nights a week, it's Thunder. But so you're literally seeing this kid's magic show with the long walkout bars so that the guys can come out and dance. It's just weird.
amazing.
But the show is so good, and you
So
have to
good.
see it. And he's so wonderful.
Oh, yeah, we should go. We should
Yeah.
take the kids. That'd be fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is really good. And you should email me because I'll introduce you to their like stage guy, and he can make sure you guys get a good seat and everything.
Cool.
Oh, that would be great.
Because the stage guy who plays a critical role in Matt King's show is also the door guy for Magician Study,
Oh.
who also swallows swords on the side recreationally. So
Las
like
Vegas.
because that's how it is
Yeah.
here, you know? Like
what
it's
you gotta do.
crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a really good show.
That's funny. Yeah, at Cirque du Soleil, not a lot of people know this, but like all of the riggers in Cirque du Soleil are like award-winning, incredible old-time circus people. Like the guy that first did the quadruple somersault on the flying trapeze, who's like a legend, is a rigger. He's making $1,000 a week, maybe, before taxes, and he gets attitude from these young French acrobats, like, hey, like, and he's just like, but all of them, they're all like all these old circus people. That's like
That's
pretty
so
crazy.
cool.
Yeah,
But
it
it's
is cool.
because people who do what we do, and I include myself because I'm creative in a different medium, but you either do it to make money, in which case you'll make your money and you'll get out and that'll be it, or you have to create something and the medium will just change.
Yeah.
So like you were in shows, now you're doing this, you're creating short form content as well.
Donut videos.
Yeah, we need donut videos.
Got to get to Carl's Donuts. But it's because you guys can't just sit at home and like blot your tears with $100 bills. You have to create.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you're not going to make anything from it. Ideally, you will monetize and you'll
Yeah.
do well. But the goal is to be involved in some sort of space where you're making something and then receiving like feedback on that work.
Yeah.
So it's more about the validation
Yeah.
than it is about not that you need validation, but you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's more
Yeah.
about that
Oh,
feeding
yeah.
your
It
creative.
is. We want that applause.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that's why when I hear people who are negative about me and they're like, oh, she'll take money from anyone. Like, yes, I have bills to pay and you can definitely pay me
Sure.
if you want to.
Yeah.
And if I also like it, then I'll give you a positive review. I won't lie.
Right.
But it's really awesome when someone comes forward and they're like, hey, you've done some videos for us before. It's always been really good. Would you like money to do it again? And I'm like, yes, I would.
Yes, please. That'd be great.
That'd be awesome. But you can't make me say that I like, something that I don't,
Right.
because that's not
That's
available.
I had that question actually, and I didn't know how to bring that up because a friend of mine had said that to me about influencers, and it kind of like I was like a little caught off guard, and I was like, that feels yucky. He said that there's influencers that get paid to go and make a video about a commercial.
Yes.
Basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, but obviously they must say that, right? Maybe you can clear that up for me, because I was like, if you do I'm assuming now that he said that happens, that you get paid to go do it, which is fine. Of course, you have to make money. But it feels like there's a thing where it's like, well, it should be stated that in the caption or whatever that this is a paid
I feel like usually there is.
partnership
It's usually
or
like,
something?
yeah,
Is
paid
that a thing?
partnership.
It is. So following the letter of the law, and what's crazy is people who advocate for us to cheat on our taxes will sure come down on an influencer who doesn't disclose a deal. But there are FTC guidelines. And if you really read the guidelines, it says that you should do X, Y, and Z. Anytime there's a material connection, it should be disclosed. It also says in other areas that if there's an understanding between the audience and the viewer, such as in the case of legacy media, someone on Fox News is coming out and saying, I think you should check out this show. There's an understanding that there's some sort of like relationship, and this is a perk as part of that package. So like you advertise on the network will get you through their show circuit. Like these are not organic relationships.
Right.
So the FTC says that it isn't necessary every time that you have to say this is the relationship, as long as it's understood that there is a relationship. So it also says that when the FTC starts to, these aren't laws, these are guidelines, but when it starts like enforcing penalties, it will be on the businesses and the PR agencies versus the individual creators, that they have the burden of responsibility to make sure that the relationship is clear. Because of all this ambiguity and gray area, a lot of people just simply don't disclose. I have found myself in my own gray area where I will do consulting for a business where I help them figure out their socials. Then I also post, like I'm paid for consulting work. I also like their product or business and do a video, not as they asked me to, but I'm not paid for that video. Is that a material? Like I've worked with them before. I'm not currently working with them. Like what? Where does that fall?
Yeah, where's the line?
There isn't a clear answer. So for me, it's very simple. If you come to me and say, I will give you $5,000 to review my catamaran service, I'm going to put on there that this is a paid sponsorship.
Okay.
There was a huge drama last year in Las Vegas. Actually, it was this year, where it was someone found out and published that our LVCVA, the Tourism Council, spent millions of dollars to get influencers to hype up Vegas. I was one of those. They released the name of all of the creators, and I don't think they knew how much we were paid, but I think I was one of the only ones on the list that had disclosed that it was paid. They paid me $10,000 to do 5 videos, which at the time was a good rate for me. It's not currently, but I was thrilled because it wasn't just a, hey, say some nice things about Vegas. It was, we want you to go to the Wynn Spa, and we want you to have dinner over here, and we want you to see the show. And I'm like, that sounds terrible. Like, and we'll give you $10,000. Like, I would have done that for free.
Yeah.
But I disclosed this was a paid partnership with the city of Las Vegas. 1, because I wanted to flex that I had a paid
that's
partnership.
amazing.
Like, that was cool. But 2, because it was very clearly transactional.
Yeah.
So when these articles came out saying that the city used tax dollars to pay influencers, there was faux outrage. Everyone's like, oh my God, that's so terrible. That's what they should be spending money on. Like their job is to increase interest, and that is the current effective marketing plan. So they should be paying influencers. All the influencers should have disclosed. But if you go look at some of like their list of who they paid and some of the content that was produced, it looks organic. Like, my husband surprised me with a trip to Vegas, and we went, and here's all the fun things we did from these big influencers. And the problem is they were paid to say that, and they didn't disclose it. So there's a lot of distrust. All I can speak to is my personal policy, and that is, if you offer me money for a post, I'm going to do it. If I'm in line, like, no amount of money could get me to say that I enjoy Chris Angel's show.
Same.
Yeah. Doesn't matter what it is. Like, you know what? I say that it would have to be retirement level, like 50 million plus.
Yeah.
So, and then I would sell out because like there's a point. I'm also not going to get on there and ever do. I get so much money from people that are like, want me to promote like liposuction or weight loss or anything like that, and like are offering me all these services for free in exchange for and a lot of money. But I won't, because I don't believe that women should ever be made to feel like they need a service. If you want it, I'll tell you where I get Botox, White Coat Aesthetics. They don't pay me. They're amazing. But I'm not going to push that because I don't want to influence someone to think that they need to have fat sucked out of their butt. I think that you should do whatever you want to do with your body. And I shouldn't impact that. I was offered a ton of money by both platforms to endorse political candidates. I took money from Voice or someone saying that you should vote. I can't remember. It was a few thousand, like 3,000 or 4,000. But I disclosed it. I will tell people that you should vote. I won't tell you who you should vote for, because that is deeply personal.
Yeah.
And I am not, I shouldn't be responsible for anyone else making their decisions. So where it gets murky is what do you disclose and where you don't. And so here's an example. I go into a restaurant that I love. I intend to post. I order a bunch of stuff. I'm ready to, I get to the end of my meal and they tell me there's no bill. They're just glad that I came in and dined, which happens a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And then if I post, was I paid? Was it a gift? Do I disclose it? Is it a partnership? Because the minute I put paid partnership on it, people assume that the opinions I'm sharing are not authentic.
Yeah, they're bribed. It's like bribed.
Right. So, or I did one last week and it was not a disclosed paid partnership. I went into a business that I love from a local small business. They gave me a gift bag. I think it's rude to open a gift bag in front of someone. I think it's weird because now I have to like perform. Like,
yeah,
oh,
it's so awkward.
Amazing. Like, and what if I hate it? And then they're going to know. So I was like, thank you very much for the holiday gift. I left. I go home. I forget about it. 2 days later, I open it up. There's $500 in the bag.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And now it's awkward because
Yeah.
now I haven't said anything for like 3 days. So now do I write them and be like, so it was on the floorboard of my car for a couple days. And like, I know that was a lot of money to them.
Yeah.
I would gladly give it back if it means my video isn't tainted because that's not a significant amount of money in the like paying a rate world.
Yeah.
When I'm courting brand deals from like Pepsi and Disney, $500 isn't worth compromising my integrity.
Yeah,
Right.
sure.
But was it a gift? Is it a bribe? Because they knew I was going to be positive before I came in there because I have done them before and it was always positive and I love them.
Right.
Yeah.
You are.
You know?
There's already a relationship.
So it's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's like in the old movies you have that. Like right now, are you sponsored by that?
Right.
I would love for them to.
So right, but do you see how people would see that? So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought you guys had a sponsorship with Liquid Death
Right.
because
We would
it was
like
Thank you. That's exactly what we're going for.
Hey, Liquid Death.
yeah. So but you don't.
Right.
You're just product placing because you're hoping to court.
Yeah, I
Yes.
also thoroughly enjoy
I
it.
do too. I love them.
Yeah.
So
That was real.
and it's all just great marketing too.
Yeah.
Their origin story, it's so good.
Yeah.
I a lot of times will go do something that I should be paid for, like a steakhouse at Bellagio, and I'll do it for free because I want to show people this is what I can do. You should pay me.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm not getting paid for it.
I see.
And then there's other times when I'm doing something that like you would never think I'm paid for, but the owner just wanted to do something for me or whatever.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's
Just a
very
gift.
weird.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a murky area.
Yeah, so I just try. My personal policy is if this is transactional, like today, I'm leaving you guys to go do an exhibit that's a piece of art that makes your whole body vibrate, which I'm really interested in seeing how this goes. But it's supposed to be like an existential experience. It is a paid partnership. They reached out and said, we would like to give you, we have a very small budget, but we're artists, which I have a soft spot for. They're like, we would like to give you a few dollars to come do a review. I'm going to disclose that
Yeah.
because
Okay.
I don't know them. I don't know if it's good or not. If it's terrible, I'm going to say, I'm going to give you your money back because I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was my next question is like, if you hate it, are you still going to be like, check it out if you'd like, just don't say anything negative? Like, or is this a situation where you're like, I would rather not?
Yeah, so it depends. If it's a purely terrible experience where like it's gross or dirty or the customer service is bad or like you're paying X number of dollars and it shouldn't be that much,
Yeah.
then no, I won't do it. If it's just a matter of taste where it's an awesome experience, but I personally am not a fan, I will just present it factually. So
Because your reputation is there too. Because if you're going to send somebody and it's shit, like
Yeah.
that's your
Right.
reputation.
But sometimes I can tell that it's just me that's the weirdo.
Uh-huh.
Like
yeah.
I did this like $500 a person omakase, like they're cutting up a tuna that was swimming 10 minutes ago in front of you
Oh
with
my
samurai
gosh.
swords and all that. And
Whoa.
like it is not my thing.
Right,
But I
'cause you
could
don't like
also
the
Where was
recognize-
that?
well, there's actually like 3 or 4 in town. Ito at the top of Fontainebleau, Kame,
yeah.
Sanga, and Kaseki Yuzu.
Okay.
And they're all amazing. But-
Kame is a interesting origin story. He came from a shopping center that was like over on Durango.
Yeah.
And he like built his way over there.
because it's truly spectacular.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we went in there. A friend was in town. I was like, "This is a great place." His name, I think his name is Mike. I can't remember his name, but I was like, "Oh, we used to go to his shop. Now he's got a great place." We went in there, and the girl was like, are you looking to spend a lot of money? And I was like, we were like, no. And you're like, well, you're in
Just
the wrong
wanted to
place.
roll.
I was like, wow, they just like stop you right at the door.
Because you're looking
like,
at spending $1,000.
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But it's amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But it's also not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
would never, ever pay for that because I don't enjoy the textures of raw fish.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to step so far out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
So I am able to look at that and say, this is everything it should be. It's not for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Same with partage. Amazing French tasting menu, but we're talking about aggressive like caviar and snails and raw scallop and different things that are perfectly executed.
Bone marrow.
Yeah, like perfectly executed, but I personally, not my thing.
Yeah.
But I can do a review on partage and be like, if you're looking for a
Yeah,
French
yeah,
tasting
yeah.
menu.
If this is your
Yeah.
jam,
This is it.
That's cool.
Because it's a fraction of the cost of Guy Savoy, but it's just as good.
Right.
But it's also like, if I'm choosing where to go out, it's not going to be for me.
right?
Yeah.
So I think there's the difference. If it's bad, I'm never going to tell you that you should go somewhere and it's awesome if it's not.
Right.
Okay.
But so about the creator market in Vegas, I would say all of the ones that I personally know, Phil, Lindsay, Cody, Drew, I don't know Radio Heather's ethics. I don't know Paul's ethics because these aren't people that I'm super social with.
Mm-hmm.
But all of the bigger creators that I know personally, none of them, here's the thing. This is so terrible to say, but there's so many offers.
Yeah.
Every day, there's 50 to 100 businesses reaching out.
Damn, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's so much opportunity and so many major brand deals with like Resorts Pass, Marriott, Holiday Inn, like people that will pay you enough money that you don't have to take
Yeah.
shitty content and lie.
Right.
So I don't think anyone's being dishonest.
Okay.
Like sometimes there might be some line blurring where like, well, this was terrible, but they have a really great cheesecake or whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
Can't you have like minions?
Minions.
Yeah. Like
What?
send out like some interns for yourself to be like, go check out this way. You know my taste. You know what I mean? Like if there's so many, like, can't you branch out and start like sending people to go to businesses
So
under your
several-
brand?
Right. So several people in our market have minions. Jump Force. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but that's Paul and Mindy. I don't know who the J was, but I think the J has moved to LA. But they were content creators who got minions. And now they go out and the minions like do content. And now they're representing brands of like 50 people
Yeah.
here in Vegas and they're crushing it.
That's what I mean. Why don't you do that?
I
Because it sounds like you're very busy. 'Cause you have children too.
I
like-
am, but you know what? Like I hate to keep waving this flag, but I really am less financially motivated. I don't have any debt.
That's
Zero.
amazing.
Yeah, zero debt. I have enough money in the bank from the great decisions that my mom and people before me made that I'm comfortable. My kids have everything they could ever want. Like, do I want to get paid? Yes, because this isn't MIFA, but at the same time, like I want to create and I want it to
Okay.
be authentic.
Yeah, and you.
Yeah, and I will legitimately. I don't think I would ever be in a position where I would be comfortable with someone else's assessment speaking for me. You know, I want to touch everything that I'm representing.
Yeah.
And I would rather have a viral video today for the right reasons, not a bad viral, but a good viral video than have $5,000.
Yeah.
Like all the time. And when it comes to my financial needs long term, like I'm at the stage where the only things I still want money for is like travel so that I can show my kids more cool stuff.
Yeah, that's
you know?
awesome.
Like my car's 4 years old and I don't feel a need to upgrade. I don't like have designer things. It just doesn't matter to me. And I
Yeah.
think
That's
you
cool.
kind of get to a point where all that seems really superfluous.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. It's about experiences and like the memories you're creating with your kids and all the things,
Sure.
your moral compass.
Right.
I feel like you would probably be the same way because you, even when we make our reels and all those things, you like to have control and you have a hard time being like, here, edit this because it's your vision, it's your product, it's your baby, and you want it to be yours and not like at the mercy of, oh my God, that was a horrible edit that you made and now it's out there.
Right. I have a theory about Ross that the reason that Ross is so successful with Spiegel World is because there are a lot of greatly creative people and there's a lot of brilliant business people. Very rarely do creative people make great business people. And when they do, they will defy the odds. I am lucky enough that I have the business sense coming from an entrepreneurial mom. and the creative side. I'm assuming since you're in many incarnations and reiterations of your creative paths that you're the same way. You have the business sense and you have the creative sense. Because of that, it isn't so easy to just hand it off to someone else.
Of course.
Those are the people who are in it for the business side, which is fine too.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, if
that's
you're
just not
just
you.
taking brand deals and like crushing it, like good for you.
Yeah.
That's just not where I am.
Yeah.
I love
Like,
that for you.
I respond to every DM and there's thousands.
Yeah, I bet.
You know, but I have to because I'm scared. Like, what if the DM I just didn't read is like someone who has this cool opportunity or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, like the thing that we were talking about earlier about, you know, making content and getting, I don't know who we were talking about this with, about like getting comments that are like, thank you so much. I needed this today. Like, that's like a paycheck to me, you know, and that is because I grew up as a child in the circus. That's what we did. We gave people a break from reality, you know, and it was like, sure, it was a business, but like, it's a double thing that you get there. But you also have to pay the bills, obviously. But, and it is true that like, you know, you feel, if it's your baby, I get it.
Yeah, it's like the rigor you were talking about. Like that person is doing that because they want to remain adjacent to the circus. And they can respect the like sharp mouth, rude kid coming in because they also recognize that that's like the next wave of the process.
Yeah.
And so do I have to pay my bills? Yes. But will I also do a ton of stuff for free? Like I look at the money as a way to fund the stuff I want to do, which is showing the small
Traveling and
businesses
stuff,
and traveling and doing travel content and all of that. And I'm sure it's the same, you know, for you in the sense that like, yes, you have to pay a mortgage. That's just how grown up life works. But you also do it because you have to.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like you want to be part of something like this. And I think that you can kind of look at the channels that, you know, they're doing it because they need the adoration. They're doing it because they're creative at heart, or they're doing it for the money. And over time, the ones that last are usually a combination of like a couple of those.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. Do you go out of town? Like, do you do like vacation stuff like as work?
I do. So initially, do you know it's an excellent tax write-off to travel out of town?
Yeah.
I bet.
So that's a big part of it. My accountant tells me I need to do more international travel because we need write-offs. But I initially wanted to be just a generalized travel channel. But I have since learned that it's very hard to monetize in a city where there's so many.
Yeah.
Like it's much better to be one of the top 3 Vegas creators and monetize that way and court brand deals in Vegas than it is to be a travel creator where you're literally competing against
The world.
you know, 20,000 other big scale. So my mom says that you should figure out something that you can be really nerdy about and really into and that you would do for free if someone asked you to do, and then figure out a way to make money from it. So the people who are making Disney content, they're making Disney content because it allows them to do what they're passionate about and receive like tickets and discounts and tax write-offs to do something that they want to do anyway. So Vegas is that thing for me. I could talk to you guys all day about the different businesses, the different shows, all of the iterations of Gaz that we've had over the years because I love that stuff. Like I'm really nerdy about it. So that's my pathway. I do step out and do like Vegas adjacent. So like Hawaii, which there's a lot of correlation between Hawaii and their tourism here. Like we're the 9th island. Which is how they look at us. And like we have the largest number of Hawaiian restaurants per capita of any place outside of Hawaii.
Wow.
Yeah, because it is a cheap, fast flight. And so when they come on vacation, they come to Vegas.
Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So
That's
a
cool.
huge tie. And then I do like occasional cruise stuff because there's a lot of correlation between the casinos and cruise ships.
Right.
So if I can make it make sense, yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I got it. You're so busy. Holy cow. Like,
And she thrives. Like you can tell that you love this.
I do.
I can.
Well, you're a
I can hear the
hustler.
passion in your voice.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing I've ever done. I loved working for Win. It was a great company, and if I, knock on wood, lost everything and had to go back, it would be Win. But I like this.
Yeah, you're so good at it.
It's so much though. Like, I mean, a couple episodes we were talking about like she wants to get out there more and be in more, go to events and openings and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm also a lot older though, so I'm like, so tired. Like the idea of going to all those things, or even like you're like, I got to go to this thing after this. Like you're spending a few hours with us here. Now you're going to do it. Like it's a hustle.
It is. Do you get PR? Do people send you PR?
No, literally nothing. That's why I'm like, and we were in shows. Like we used to be at all the red carpets, all the things, all the openings, and now I'm like just nothing, just screeching halt. So it's like frustrating for me because I'm like, we should have access to it. We should be invited to those things. There's no reason why we're not. We have the background in it. Now we have a platform that we can use to promote it, and like, not that we're trying to be Vegas influencers, but like, I do think we're pretty cool.
No,
But it might be that, though. It might be that not both of us are so hungry for that. Because, like, the idea of having to go to, like, a Chris Angel opening or something where I'm like...
I wouldn't go to that either.
So to your point, the reason you're not getting those invites is because you're simply not on the radar. You have to get the ball rolling, you have to say, hey, I'm here. I would like to attend your event. And then they'll be like, oh my God, yes, because the need for people to talk about businesses and come to openings and do events far outweighs the number of people who are available to do them.
Really?
Okay.
So what I was going to say about PR is I was so excited for a business to acknowledge me and send me a PR gift. Like the first time, I just wanted, it didn't matter what it was, I wanted PR. And now, years later, I'm to the point where I'm like, please don't send me your PR. Because it's
Just
always,
forward it to us.
it's always some variation of like a coffee mug or a tumbler or whatever. And they're not sending it to you because they think you're cool or awesome. They're sending it to you because they're trying to purchase your endorsement and for you to post and tag them at the lowest common rate, which is a tumbler in a pretty gift box. And it is exciting at first, but what I have learned is all of those events and all of those invites are transactional. And it has come to feel very hollow to me where they aren't inviting me because they want me to share in their moment. They're inviting me because they want me to advertise for them, but they think I'm worth an invitation. I'm worth the cost of a tumbler, but I'm not worth paying for my endorsement.
Interesting, yeah.
And these invites are coming from PR companies who are literally paid thousands of dollars per month by their clients to harness us to do the work free.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, that makes sense.
So what you're wanting is definitely not, because I felt the same way. I was like, why am I not getting invited? And then now I'm invited to everything, and I say no to everything.
Yeah.
So now here's my philosophy.
So careful what you wish for, kind of thing.
Yeah.
My philosophy is if a PR company reaches out to me and I really want to do it, I'll reach out to the business directly. And I'll say, look, I want to come to your party because I think what you're doing is cool or I'm excited about it. But when the video does well for you, I want the credit. And I don't mean I want you to give me something. I just emotionally, I want you to know that I'm doing this for you. Your PR company didn't harness me.
Right.
They didn't negotiate
I
me.
gotcha.
Like, they're just casting a wide net and hoping that they produce some results for you. So I want you to know that I'm going to come and do this, but I'm doing it because I care about what you're doing. And they're thrilled. And then I have a relationship in place with them so that years later when they do something different or they want to pay for marketing, they feel comfortable coming to me directly instead of going through the PR agency. So basically, you have value. Don't sell yourself for cheap. Your following is valuable. The only reason you're not getting invites is because people simply don't know that would appeal to you.
Yeah.
So,
well, we reached out to an old PR lady, friend of ours, who is, I don't think she's in PR any longer. She was like our PR person for Absinthe back in the day. And she invited us to like an event, the AFAN Black and White Party for AIDS. And so we did that. And I'm like, this is fun. Like I just want to go places with him and like people to be like, oh, there's Tony and Angel. Like, I don't know. I want that more than anything.
You should have that.
Yeah.
And you've done the work creatively to be there, and you're certainly like worthy of that. I'm just saying that first of all, it's not great.
Yeah.
And secondly, you just need to like throw your name in the hat.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening is. And I can help too in the sense that like, so there's just generalized stuff that everyone gets invited to. Like everyone got F1 invites except me because I said, One time I said that their race costumes need more sparkles if they're going to be in Vegas, and they were big mad about that.
But it's so true.
It needed
Holy
to be
shit.
like more Vegas.
That's so
you
true.
know? So, and they were like, it's not a costume. It's like, okay, whatever.
Oh my God, I wish they would have
whatever.
listened and they would have came out like with Elvis costumes.
They have
Right.
rhinestones
Yeah.
on their costumes. That would have been amazing.
For sure, like
That's
Vegas
funny.
it up. But so they're still mad about that. F1, I
So
want
wait,
to
they
work
didn't-
with you.
Yeah, if
You
you're
just didn't get
listening.
invited because of that?
No, I also posted some very real insight as to what the traffic was like and what it was doing to us.
I did see your video with the escalators.
Yeah, and that one
was
got
fun.
like 50 million views. It
Oh
was
my
wild.
God,
Yeah.
that's fun.
But I have tried to be very objective, and F1 has its hiccups.
Hmm.
But I am one of the like few people that genuinely loved it. Like I think it's great for Vegas, and I think we need that.
Yeah.
But it's not all black and white in the sense that like something can be terrible and also kind of awesome.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, like the Super Bowl was just awesome. They did a
Yeah.
great job with that. F1 has a lot of pain associated with
Yeah.
it, like the traffic, the disruption, the construction everywhere, but it's also a great event.
Yeah. It's also
So,
cool. Like,
yeah.
it's cool to have that here.
For sure. Yeah. So
Vegas
I'm a big
deserves
fan, but I also can't just be like, no, there's growing pains.
Yeah.
in anything.
Sure.
But there are PR companies that would gladly include you if they just knew that you were interested.
Yeah.
Do you have
Maybe
a
have to do
media
some.
kit?
No, that's
Yeah,
it.
we do.
Oh, we do.
Okay.
Just kidding.
So you just need to take your media kit and send it to, like, I'll send you a list of all the big players and just
be
be
so
like,
great.
keep me in mind.
Okay, how about I'll just go. I'll
Oh,
represent
you said that.
both
I
of
said,
us.
yeah, that's what I said. I was like, well, let's send you.
But just so you know, you have to put on pants that are not stretchy.
Yeah, like I'm wearing right now.
You have to like put on makeup and curl your hair, and then you have to go talk to people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have to be like interested, and then
Oh, see, I like miss that though. I miss that. I miss that so much because I feel, I don't know, I'm probably just at this weird phase of like the age that I'm in and the things that I'm doing that I'm like, I want a reason to get up and get dressed and
Right.
go out.
Right.
And have a drink, even if it's just us. Like, I want to go have a drink with you, and I want people to again acknowledge us and be like, oh my God, they're there. Like, I want people to know who we are. I miss that. Like, I miss being on the red carpets from Absinthe and people being like, oh my God, there's Tony and Angel.
Yeah, and that's all super valid. I think, so where I am, because it comes in waves, where
Yeah.
I'm like, why does no one love me? And then I'm like, everyone needs to stop loving me.
Yeah.
Where I am currently is if I really want to do a restaurant and they invite me to their grand opening or whatever, like I know I'm not a great fit for those parties because I will Irish goodbye like my own birthday party. So I'm just not into forced socialization. I almost cancel everything, but then I'd force myself. Like, for example, I would have put this off for another 3 years if it hadn't been for the magician thing, and I felt like I needed to come out and say it because I'm like, what if I do badly, or what if it's terrible, or what if this is the thing that cancels me, or
Yeah, that's scary.
You know, all of that. So, and if you don't put yourself out there, all of that, it's like if you don't get in the ocean, you're not going to get eaten by a shark. kind of
Right.
thing. But with the events, what I'll do is I'll reach out to the business and say, I am already committed on the date of your silly party, but I would like to go experience it, no charge to you. When would be a good time? And they will always like say, oh, you pick, come in. Like they just want the coverage.
Right.
Like that's it.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you guys just let people know that you're available, you know, then they would be
Thanks.
there. Yeah, for
Thanks
sure.
a lot.
Yes, no problem. Good luck with that.
Thanks for that advice. Okay, I want to ask you because you brought it up a couple times. What's the story with Chris Angel? I feel like there's something there that we.
I just think he's awful. Yeah. So
But wait, so you've seen it?
Yes.
Oh.
So it's not any deeper than that. First of all, I don't like, you know how we talked a lot about, you know, people create because they love it and all that. I feel like there are also bad actors, and literally and also metaphorically, where they're in it for the narcissistic adoration, but they don't work to create art or improve their craft, and will even exploit situations for personal gain. And so
Like his child.
like telling an audience that his child is doing better, and then using footage of a standing ovation as if they're applauding his work as a creator, which is
Oh, shit.
horrible. Like
Yikes.
you can't, Like as a mom,
Yes.
I just can't. And also just the attitude that of like entitlement. And sometimes I was having this conversation with family recently where I was like, I understand why famous people become ridiculous, because there are times where, so recently I went into a restaurant and I didn't like what was on the menu and I elected to leave. But the whole conversation went like, oh, I thought this was something else. Cool. I'm going to go next door. And they were like, no big deal. And it was like, awesome. And I wasn't in there as me. I was in there as Jen, resident of this community.
Right.
Wanted to eat X, Y, and Z. And the menu was A, B, and C. So I went to the restaurant next door. Within hours, like the director of marketing for that restaurant was like, we would like for you to tell us exactly what made you unhappy. And we're going to change it and we're going to work on it. And I was like, I simply wasn't in the mood for X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, I just didn't want a burger. I wanted a taco.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. And then Spiegel World, they asked me to go do a show, and I said, I'm not excited about this element of it. And they were like, we will change that element. And I was like, you don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Like, it was disco show. I can't beat around the bush on this one because it's weird. I was like, I don't want to dance.
I don't want to stand for a
I don't
whole
want to
show.
stand. And they were like, we'll bring a couch in for you.
Oh my gosh.
But they were being nice.
Yeah.
You know, like they were trying to be nice. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is how like actual famous people become crazy.
Yeah,
because the whole world bends
Caters.
to accommodate them because they want their attention and they want their endorsement. So if people are willing to put couches in a standing show for just a local creator, I can't imagine if you're like Jennifer Lopez, what they're doing for her.
Yeah.
They're probably like, we will
Kardashians?
make it not rain tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, we are so sorry that the sun came out and ruined your morning. Because it's crazy what people will do if they think it will help improve their situation, which is valid. But I think as someone who's getting that kind of unnecessary attention, we need to be really aware of that and not misuse it. Yeah. And I think that with Chris Angel, I don't remember what era he got a lot of attention. I guess it was the TV show era. Yeah. But it sort of created this idea that like he no longer has to make efforts to be a great performer or even a great human.
Yeah.
Just a good person.
Just nice and like work within the community, not for self-gain.
Yeah.
Like, and so I'm not a fan. I'm also not a fan of he's the only magician on the strip that will turn the lights off to do a trick. It's like, he's like, here's this thing. And then the lights go off and the thing is gone. I'm like, where did it go? It must be magic. And it's like, it's just a very low brow.
That's such a great magic trick.
like literal wires. And like, it's just, it's really, so I don't like David Copperfield either, but I recognize that he's a true showman. I don't like him because of the allegations and stuff that have surrounded like that whole era of people not being held accountable and using their fame to get away with things. But there's no doubt that he's a talented showman and creator and performer. He's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Right. He also hasn't innovated in like 20 years, and you got to innovate to stay relevant. Yeah. But I don't trash if you want to go see him. Like he's a great performer.
It's a good show.
Yeah. But I just don't like anything that resonates with Chris Angel. Not a fan. So.
It's so funny.
Same.
When he came into Absinthe, he hung out after a little bit and we were talking and he was like, I love what you do on the high wire because it's real. You know, like my magic. Like my magic isn't tricks, it's real. And I was like,
bruh.
Like you came straight from Hogwarts. It's not real.
Yeah, no.
It was such a weird thing. I was like, what? Like that's so
now,
weird.
see, I could actually come to like him if he's that level of delusional that he thinks it's real. Like, if he thinks he's performing real magic, I could get into that. Totally. Because that's a different situation. Yeah. But just...
I feel like he got this niche audience that will just follow whatever he does.
He does.
He's just lazy and like, I mean, I don't have anything against him. I mean, whatever. His like what I said about Teller, like I'm not a big fan of magic, but if it's like beautiful, but his is magic and douchery.
Yeah,
and
like it's that whole. Do you remember when Anarchy was really in?
Yes.
Like that's what it is.
Yeah,
that's the whole brand. It's like I'm so metal, but I like shop at Hollister.
Yeah,
and there's an audience for it, and they love him, and they're great. So
that's what's crazy. So when I first started making being a creator, I would look at other creators as like potential competition, and I would think like, well, if I'm just good and authentic, people will see that I'm the real deal and they'll follow me and they won't like this person. And that's simply not true. Like there is you are someone's cup of tea. And that's awesome, because if your thing is like making like little miniature farmhouses and making videos about it, you will find an audience.
Yeah.
It's also bad because sometimes really terrible people who are just lying and making stuff up for views or heinously attacking other people and businesses for no reason, obviously that was specific, they will also find their audience.
Yeah.
And you can't do anything about that.
Yeah, it just is what it is.
There will be people who love the worst people and believe everything they say. Like Joe Rogan, I'm sure he's not a terrible guy. I don't know him. He does follow me, which is my flex.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's crazy.
And I reached out and I was like, put me on your show. And he was like, I just like Vegas content. And I was like, all right. So that was the end of our relationship.
Wow.
But
that's so cool.
he says things that you know to be inaccurate and people just eat it up because they love him. And like that used to really bother me.
Yeah.
But I've learned that you can't worry about other people.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the creator that I mentioned earlier that I have an issue with, a lot of what they share is factually inaccurate about Vegas, and it used to drive me crazy. And now I just realize that it doesn't really matter. You know, as a consumer, you have a responsibility to fact check.
Yeah, do your own research.
And if you don't and you just believe what you're told, then like I can't help you anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so do the best you can.
Right.
Make awesome content, and your audience will find you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I
right?
love that.
I've told this story before. I'm just going to tell it one more time about David Copperfield. He came to Absinthe and sat in the front row wearing, I think he was wearing jeans and flip-flops.
Nice.
And he was sitting back just like with his
Classy.
legs like crossed. And in the opening monologue, the gazillionaire was like doing his bit. And then he comes over to Copperfield and he's like, I'm sorry. He was like, who the fuck wears flip-flops to the theater? And he was like, oh my God, I'm sorry. I didn't realize we had royalty here tonight. Here, allow me, sir. And he gets down and he takes off his flip-flop and starts giving his big toe head. Like actually
Just
has his
sucking
big,
his big
toe,
toe.
sucking his David and Copperfield's head was back, dying laughing. The whole audience was losing
And
their
he was
shit.
like low-key into it.
Yeah, totally.
He definitely didn't stop it right away.
You know what's funny is the other night at Absinthe, they also like sucked off someone's foot like aggressively. And while I'm not surprised by anything that happens in the Absinthe tent, just following COVID, that seems a little weird. And I was like, maybe it's a plant. And I was like, no, that's probably just some dude from Wisconsin.
Yeah, literally, he saved up all his yearly income to come to Vegas.
Right.
And now he's getting his big toe sucked.
by Gaz. And I'm like, why? Whoa.
Copperfield was the first of the toe suck.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, that's
we were
crazy.
just literally backstage like this.
Dying.
Yeah. You know what's funny about Copperfield is he's a handsome man. He's an older man now, and he no longer like looks like his picture on the side of MGM.
Yeah.
And you know he's aged, and I'm sure that's hard for him because it's hard for all of us. But he is just kind of, when you think about like OG showmen, like that good-looking, smooth-talking, like cutting the woman in glitter in half, and like he's all of that.
Yeah.
And even though I don't love some of the controversy surrounding him or Wynn or any of the big, powerful men of our era, there's a lot of respect for people who, you know, kind of paved the way for other creators.
Yeah, of
Sure.
course.
I don't know really what his controversy was. He just like in the boys club and like did shitty.
It's just women that have come forward and been like, he sexually assaulted me, or he did this, and you don't know. Like, there's this one camp that tells you, as a woman, we should believe women.
Sure.
And they should have a presumption of believability until proven otherwise. But then there's also that camp that's like, okay, we haven't heard from these people, and now 30 years, 40 years later, they're talking about something that happened. And if it's something really horrible, obviously, full stop, that's not acceptable. But when someone says, you know, he pressured me to spend time with him, and I didn't want to, and he was kind of relentless, like, to a certain extent, I think every woman has that experience, especially in creative and show fields and stuff like that, where the lines get blurred and you're spending time together outside of work. So I try to take it all with a grain of salt and say, like, is this someone who is trying to have a moment of attention, or is it valid? And I have to skew towards valid because that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But I also have people come after me and they're like, I'm so paranoid now that when I go into a restaurant, I take a picture of the tip that I leave at every restaurant along with the receipt, because I had someone come out and say that I came into a club with a bunch of my friends. So first of all, we know that didn't happen, because I'm not going to a club and I'm sure not bringing a bunch of friends. Like, I hang out with my kids.
Yeah.
And and that I demanded all these things and I was really entitled about it. And they made a video about it and it got a lot of views. And it was just someone like trying to get attention and like, you know, whatever, good for them for taking a shot. But I tip 25% across the board not because I think you should do that, but because I know I'm going to be scrutinized
Sure.
as an influencer for my behavior. So I make sure that I have proof of it. So if I ever have someone come forward, not to go back to him, but that creator we talked about earlier, he made a video where he said, I went into Fontainebleau and I ran up bills at Mother Wolf and Don's Prime. He didn't name the restaurants, but he said these 2 restaurants. What he doesn't know is the chef at Don's Prime is a very good friend of mine. I pay when I go in there. I've never asked for anything. Mother Wolf, the dinner that allegedly I ran up a big bill at, and they said I brought my whole family. That one did get a little bit weird in the sense that I had 2 people show up that weren't on the reservation. So I went in and I said, can I add 2 people to my reservation? And I would like it to be separate from the comp that was set up for me because I want to cover them because it was a friend who was like, can I come? And I'm like,
You're in this awkward position.
And they're there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, let's do it. So we went and we did it and we had the dinner and I tipped my 25% on top of it. And I'm sure that got relayed and distorted a little bit, but I have never left a bill at any restaurant and I've never expected anything free. And in this video, they said that I ran up thousands of dollars. I don't drink. So like, how would I spend thousands of dollars? You know what I mean? Like I barely eat. Our bill at either restaurant was like $250. One was a partial comp, one I paid for. So, but that video did very well because people want to believe that I'm just like going into restaurants and ordering all the things. And like, that's not happening. I try to treat everyone so nice and I really don't want attention and extra stuff. So now I'm paranoid to the point where I take pictures of receipts. I keep records so that if anyone ever says, she came in and she did this and this and she didn't, I can counter it. I can prove it, even though it's probably better just to ignore it. And I don't remember what got us on that subject, but basically like people clout chase. And I've had people go after me and say that I've done things that are not true because they know it'll go viral.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you hear that a person has this blemish that occurred years ago, sometimes you have to take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Because in my experience, bad people do bad things constantly.
Right.
It's not an outlier. So if someone comes out of the woodwork, I met Mr. Wynn. I worked at Wynn at the end of it, and he was lovely. Do I believe that he was like a shady dude at times? Probably.
Powerful, sure.
Yeah, that's you money, entitlement, it goes to your head.
Old school Vegas.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it was a different time. Does that make it okay? No. Am I glad he's gone? Also no. Like he was kind
Did
of...
he die?
No.
Oh,
he was like...
kicked out.
They punted him. Like security packed up his things and he lives in Florida with some German Shepherds now.
And that place still called the Wynn. How crazy is
Right.
that?
Well, to be fair, his ex-wife, who is a mover and a shaker and a badass and doing awesome things, she is actively... I think she has recently kind of stepped away from it, but following his extradition... she kind of stepped in to an operations role. But it's a world brand at this point.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to change it because he's, got a reputation. But I believe the allegations against him were like that he pressured someone. Not that he forcefully acted on anyone, but I don't really know the details. But I remember reading it and thinking like, so did everybody else
Literally.
in the 70s and early 80s. Like,
Who hasn't been in that situation at some point in time?
Right, yeah. And even just perception could be. So there are allegations against Copperfield that are not amazing. I don't know what they are, and it doesn't matter to me. So I don't want to come out and be like, he's a great dude. I don't think you should have him over to your house. Like, who knows? But from a showman perspective, he is talented.
Sure.
And there needs to be respect for the legacy he built in the performance space.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, even Siegfried and Roy went through, there was something going on where they were supposedly being not good with their employees. Like, again, that era of, they're Siegfried and Roy. Like, what they've done for magicians and, like, entertainers, it's such a hard thing to, tricky.
Yeah, tricky is the good word.
Before we go, I put you to work a little bit. Like, if there's a family coming to town, where do they stay? Where do they eat? Like, where's your favorite family place for families in Vegas?
So that depends 100% on the dates of travel and budget because Vegas uses dynamic pricing. So a room at a Excalibur, let's say that, could be $25 tonight and $700 tomorrow for the exact same room. Wow. And it totally depends on the dates. So if all of us and everyone we know and everyone who views this podcast goes and Googles January 15th, the prices will go up because the internet will tell them that there is a surge of demand incoming. So it completely depends on your budget, but let's assume reasonable budget, family of 4. I really think that you get the most bang for your buck at Red Rock or Orleans. Orleans is going to be your budget choice. It's like $30, $40 a night, but they've got bowling, they've got a movie theater, there's a really kid-friendly food court. It's clean, it's older, the pool is fantastic, and it's open after dark, which is unusual in Vegas because they usually want you in the casinos. Yeah. But you can get a cabana there for $50 on some days.
At Orleans?
Yeah, and it's a great little budget property. So if you're like on a budget and you want to have a nice staycation, I probably stay at the Orleans once a month in the summer, like in the warm months, because the kids love it, and good Wi-Fi, I can work.
It's not dingy, like oldie kind of?
It's old, but it's not dingy. Okay. Like it's well maintained. The rooms are clean. All hotels from the very nicest to the lowest level are going to have issues from time to time. There's a viral video right now about someone alleging that something was stolen out of their room at Orleans, and everyone's losing their mind, but it happens at every hotel. Yeah. Like things go missing. It's an imperfect system. But the Orleans is your best budget choice. And then for luxury, Red Rock, because the pool is great. The spa is great for adults. There's a movie theater. There's a bowling alley. There's Kids Quest. Matter of fact, I am going to Red Rock tonight on a date night scenario, and my kids are going to Kids Quest.
Oh, I used to love going to Kids Quest.
It's like, so I thought it was like weird, like, oh, you just put your kids in here so you can go play slots or whatever. Like, that's weird. But that's where all the other kids go, so it's like a social club.
Yeah, it's so fun. I used to beg. I used to live, I grew up over by Boulder Station, which is not the greatest part of town now, but like I grew up over there, and my mom and dad would have a date night, and they would take me and my best friend, and sometimes my brother if he was young enough. I would beg, can we please go to Kids Quest? Can we please don't let Jeremy babysit us? I really want to go to Kids Quest.
Yeah, they love it.
And it was like a treat because like you had to pay for it, obviously, but like when you got to go, it was so fun.
It is, and it's an indoor play place, and then they have like a kid bar where they can get like mac and cheese and nuggies and run tabs and all the other, because we go to the one in Summerlin and my kids go to school in Summerlin. It's literally like did you see Lexi's going to Kids Quest tonight? Like,
oh my God, that's so cute. Yeah. Wow. It's a social thing. Yeah. That's cute.
You're also close to Red Rock, like for a good hike too. Like that's probably the closest one. It's good. And you can walk. So if you don't love the offerings on property, even though Naxos, Lotus, Leoncito, Lotus of Siam?
There's a Lotus in Red Rock, yes.
I didn't know that.
There's 2 now.
Yeah, yes. And the Noodle Bar, like it's all great. Lucky Penny, it's a cafe, wonderful options. But if you don't love all those options, you can walk right out the side door and there's Harlow Steakhouse and Jing and, downtown Summerlin, all the shoppings. Like it's probably the most all-encompassing without the smells and the chaos of the Strip.
Yeah.
So, but it's just as nice. People are going to get big mad when I say this. It's just as nice as Wynn in terms of accommodations and service. Like it is a Forbes 5-star luxury experience at a price point and stress level that's much more fitting of like a true luxury community.
Yeah, so, I like that.
So that's where I would go.
Good to know.
And then what about date night? Like...
My favorite combo, and it's not just because I love them personally, is a lip-smacking foodie tour. If you've never done one of those, you've got to.
Explain what that is. I don't know what that is.
So Donald was a waiter at STK, and he would get these customers that would come in, and they would see him regularly, and they would be like, you know what, we do what we know in Vegas because we're comfortable in it, but like, what else can we do that's really awesome food-wise? And so he created this company. It's not like when you think of a foodie tour, you think of going and getting like a corn dog and an ice cream cone. You meet with your guide and you go to 3 or 4 very high-end restaurants within one resort. So you're not walking all over the city.
I see.
So at Aria, for example, you would go to like Javier's and Cathedral and maybe Mastro's or Toca or something like that, and you'll do 3 of them. They'll be ready for you, so you don't wait at the line. You don't have to have a reservation. You don't have to check in. They walk you straight in. They usually have the PDR or whatever private space is available, but if not, it'll be like the best tables. The chef has a tasting menu for each restaurant that will send out smaller portions of their most popular dishes that each restaurant is like known for. So it's for example, the Aria one is $200 to go do it. And you get to go to 3 or 4 restaurants, depending on the lineup that night. You're going to do a tasting menu at each one. They can work with your, like if you're vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free. You're not going to love all of the dishes.
Right.
But you're going to love the majority of them because it's the most popular dishes for a reason. But like if you don't eat seafood, so maybe you skip, as long as it's not an allergy, obviously they wouldn't serve it if it's an allergy. But if you just don't care for it, maybe skip that, but there'll be steak, there'll be chicken, there'll be other things.
That's cool.
It seems like a steal.
It is. It is such a steal. The most expensive one they have is the $1,000, and people always lose their mind when I mention it. But the $1,000 tour, everything else is $200 or less. The $1,000 tour, you get picked up by a limo. You go to 3 different steakhouses, and each restaurant, it's like Kobe, Wagyu, black truffle, lobster, shrimp, high-end rare wines, liquor, all of your gratuities, all of your transportation, everything's included in the $1,000. And you get to do things like sit out on a table by the Bellagio fountains at night. Like it's really exclusive, experiences. So when I get, I don't want to use the term celebrities, but like people who are on TV shows like Grey's Anatomy and Station 19. So they're famous, but they're not like Tom Hanks, you know. But they'll call me and they'll be like, or they'll message me on IG and say, "We're coming to Vegas. We're having a wrap party. Can we do something cool?" That's the kind of thing that we'll book for them to do because it's really special.
Yeah, that is cool.
Or like a really special anniversary or date night. But most of his tours are $125 to $200 a person. You can add a helicopter tour to the end with Maverick, where they'll fly you over the Strip. But it's just such a special. If you have one night and you can't. You're scared that the restaurant you're going to pick is not going to be amazing, or you want to eat at 3 different places. This is a way to do 3 or 4 restaurants in one night.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
2.5 hours. You're only at each restaurant 20 minutes, so it moves quickly. It's not annoying. The guide gives you information about the chef, the dishes, the venue, the art, and then you're off to the next place.
How fun.
So it's really neat.
They have a website, I would imagine.
Lipsmackingfoodietours.com.
Cool.
And then, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and if you're in a group, it's really cool too, because at each restaurant, because you're moving between them, you can sit with different people in your party.
Oh, yeah.
So you're not like stuck with strangers. Like they break them into, so it's nice.
That is interesting.
And then that tour ends at Mastro's usually. And then you can walk right over to Magician Study for the 9 p.m. And it's just, in my opinion, the restaurants followed by the show is like the most quintessential Vegas.
Sure.
It's so good.
Yeah, that's great.
But Vegas is like, you can throw a rock and hit a great spot to eat.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, we have gotten better. We've stepped it up.
You have to live like a tourist. We're so lucky.
Yeah.
We have all of this.
It's
I
true.
know.
It's true.
And we're just pigeonholed at Chipotle and all the things
Probably
because
is
it's
good,
easy,
Yeah.
convenient
true.
for our busy lives.
Yeah, that's true. And like that, when we came with Absinthe, that was when like Caesars was going after all like the big chefs, like Savoy and all this. Like a friend of mine is Rick Bayless. He's a Mexican chef out of Chicago. He was on Top Chef Masters with Bobby Flay. And Caesars was trying to get him. They wanted one of his restaurants there. And he was like, he came into Absinthe, had a meeting with them. And he was like, no, it's the same thing that you were talking about earlier about like the Minions. He was like, I like being at my restaurants in Chicago. I don't like, having my stuff out there. I like making sure that controlling the, the quality and that people are coming in and having a, an experience. And if it's in Vegas, I might do like one of my sandwich places, but like, one of my main places he didn't want to do. And I was always like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It makes it more special when you get to go there.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, so last question before we wrap up, 'cause we've been here for a while. I'm so sorry. Thank you for
You're
giving us
good.
your
No,
time.
It's been a good conversation.
Yeah,
Okay.
really good and easy. I love it. Where does Starfish come from?
I was going to ask that too.
Oh, so I was stuck at home during COVID, just like everyone else. And you know how, like, as a collective, like unofficially, we all watched like Tiger King together, and we all watched everything on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I was watching I had finally run out of stuff to watch, and I was watching like a BBC Planet Earth type thing, and they were talking about how when you cut up starfish and you throw them in the water, they will grow entirely new starfish, and that like if you cut their leg off, they just grow another one. And at that time, I to back up and add preface to this, I am not an on-camera person. I don't want to be photographed. Just like every woman, I have insecurities. I know that I'm imperfect, and my goal was never to be like judged by what you see. I just want you to judge my art that I put out. So I had a dream in 2021 early that I was going to be a TikTok star. And I called my sister and I was like, listen to this wild shit. And she was like, that's weird because you're not even in family photographs. She's like, for all intents and purposes, you don't exist. And I was like, I know, it's weird. I said, but what's even more weird is in my lucid like dream state, I went on Amazon and ordered a ring light because at that time I perceived that to be like the necessary tool for my future career. And so it arrived and it sat on my dresser for a few months. And then I very quietly went into the upstairs office and didn't tell anyone I was going. And I recorded a video where I told people about Ghost Donkey, which was like a cool hidden bar at Cosmo. And Ghost Donkey wasn't open. It was still closed from COVID. But I was like, look, I don't know if you're ever going to get to see this place, but if it does come back, here's what's cool about it. And the video went like crazy viral. And so I started going up and making these videos where I'm just like sitting in front of a camera, like talking, and like there's a glittery backdrop. I got some fabric on Amazon. It was like a mess. I think I've deleted all of those since then, but it was just so bad. But I really did well at it. People liked the way I communicated information. And so finally, I hadn't told anyone. So finally, I was user like 7, 12, 14, 16, 93. I was like, I need a name. So I was thinking about how it was really weird that in my late 30s, I was developing this new pathway and how it was very like regenerative. And then also about how Vegas was going to have to adapt to like a post-COVID world.
Yeah.
So, and then I also wanted to go with something that I knew would never be anywhere else on the internet. And Vegas Starfish, because the sea creature doesn't fit and you can't eat one. So it didn't make sense. So I put that together because I knew if I went with like Vegas Giant or Vegas Holly or whatever, there's going to be hard to get handles.
Sure.
50 of them. So that's where it came from. And then finally I told my family what I was doing. And I was like, look, I have like 100,000 people. And they were like, this is weird.
Yeah, that's so great.
And then I was supposed to move to Florida because during COVID, we had kind of given up on having any sort of meaningful career here. And we got a home near my family in Florida.
Where in Florida?
Navarre, like Panhandle, south of Pensacola, but before Destin. And I was supposed to move July 1st, and my first viral video came out April 8th. And so when July 1st came and went, I was like, well, I'm just going to 6 more months.
Yeah.
And then finally, after like a year, my mom was like, Jenny, we know you're not coming. It's okay. We support you. We love you.
Yeah.
Like, chase your dream.
Oh, I love this story.
And it was another year before I called her and I was like, I don't think I'm coming to Florida. She's like, we know.
We know.
Yeah. At this point, I'd already been on like the Drew Barrymore show and done all
Oh
of
my
those
gosh,
things.
you did?
Yeah, so this is another weird story. So her producer calls me and is like, hey, do you want to be on the Drew Barrymore show? And I was like, this is certainly a scam. But yes. And they were like, meet us.
Just in case.
Right.
Yes.
Meet us in the Lotus of Siam parking lot on Saturday at 2. And
Also
I was like,
sketchy.
I was like, super sketchy.
The old one?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So I show up and there's no one there. Not a car, nothing. I go up, I knock on the door, it's locked, the lights are off. I was like, I got trolled. So I send it like a snarky email and I was like, I'm here and there's no one here. And she was like, yeah, of course, because we're filming inside. We have it shut down. Wait just a minute. And so she invites me in and there's fucking Drew.
Whoa.
Like having Thai food with the owners because I guess
That's
she's
amazing.
longtime friends with them.
Wow.
And her favorite city in the world is Vegas. And so I sit down with her and we have this amazing connection. She's awesome. Everything you think she is, she's exactly that.
I love
She's
that.
so great.
Awesome.
She seems
And
great.
She's so great. And then she was like, do you want to come to New York and be on my show? And I was like,
Yes.
I'm pretty sure at this point it's not a scam, but I'm like, just to be safe, yes. And so she was like, okay, we'll be in touch. And I'm like, okay, that's never going to happen. But like, I'm so glad I got this opportunity. And then 3 weeks later, they were like, okay, here's your dates. Come to Manhattan.
Whoa.
So I went up there and we did an arc where she would like send me to a city. And I would starfish the city where I would go in and like find the best shows, the best food, the best everything in 48 hours. And then like I would go back to her show and do a report on it.
Oh my gosh, how
It
fun.
was so cool. And so I
is
did
so
that
cool.
like 5 or 6 times. And then it just kind of got to the point where it was really impractical. And like, as you guys know, that kind of gig work doesn't pay anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't even covering all my expenses.
Sure.
And it really didn't do anything to raise my visibility because her audience and my audience are different. Like she's daytime TV and, so like I just kind of got to the point where I was like, I'm not really available to do this anymore, but it was so cool.
That's
that's
crazy.
so awesome.
So, but it was kind of after all that where my mom was like, you have over 3 million followers. Like, we know you're not coming.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just realized it. So I was the last one to know that this is,
That's so crazy.
That you're good at it. That's your imposter syndrome.
Yeah, I think so. I hired an accounting firm this year to like un-F all of that stuff. And they were like, why didn't you do X, Y, and Z last year? And I was like, because I didn't realize this was a business until like really recently. And they're like, that's crazy. They're like, average like local bakeries and stuff aren't doing the volume that you're doing. And I was like, but I was very slow to catch on.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
I love that.
That is crazy. Story. Now I'm kind of embarrassed because when we were starting this podcast, I reached out to you because I didn't know that you were that big. Honestly, I wasn't like trying to come after somebody that was. I remember I was like, oh, we should have her do like a segment where she talks about a piece on Vegas every episode. I'm like, oh, Drew Barrymore's person.
No. I'm actually I'm talking to Fargo about maybe doing something where, and I have an idea, and maybe you guys could. Oh no, I asked you already, and you said you can't. I want to find a podcast that can go to businesses.
Location,
Well, actually, Trevin was literally just talking about how they were on location the other day, so maybe that's something that we could...
Well, my original idea for this show was to do them like on one of the bridges over the strip one night. And then somewhere, like, every episode is somewhere weird in Vegas so that you get people passing by, maybe someone kind of like crashes, you know what I mean, like weirdos,
like a drunk person,
and you have a guest. So we wanted to do that, but it was just so like.
And if you loiter now, you'll get a ticket.
Oh yeah,
which is a whole thing.
Yeah. So
but I would be interested in working with not just Fargo or anyone who wants to highlight some of our businesses.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like a straight up ad. I mean like we go in, we sit at a restaurant, we order whatever it is they're doing there, and we enjoy it and maybe talk about that, but talk about normal stuff too.
Yeah.
And just give them the heightened visibility because there's so many businesses in this town that are operating on such thin margins that they don't really have marketing budgets. They can't pay someone like me to do a profile. They can't do product placement with you, but I still have a skill set that I can lend to them, and you guys do too, so.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
We could do a different like spot because that's the thing that we talked about too, about like wearing fun outfits and doing like a different kind of like more like a show, like something like that. So yeah, that's fun.
Fargo just shot in the Spiegel World tent.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did like a podcast right inside the tent, which I think is so cool. I think that just from a creative standpoint, people who dig this kind of content are a different animal. I didn't do podcasts forever because I think it's like weird to just be on camera talking. But then I learned that it's an entirely untapped market of people who crave this kind of more personal and intimate, because they watch my content, they maybe have an idea of who or what I am, or maybe they don't care. But for some people, The Pursuit of Pizza, I love Capo and all of them. They're so great. For those people who crave this long form content, this is how they connect with the creator.
Yeah.
So this has its place. But I think that there's an untapped market of people who also love Vegas that would come in, because this is a very sexy city. It's very easy to make it marketable. If you were showing different aspects, there's people who really are just not into podcasts and long form content that would tune in because they just want to see Vegas.
Yeah,
right. So it's like an untapped market.
For sure.
Yeah,
that sounds fun.
That does sound really fun.
Yeah.
Well, keep us in mind.
Yeah, for sure. If you guys get something going, you can always message me.
Yeah.
Cool.
I agreed to do 60 days of podcast, and I would say yes to everyone who asked. And I was hoping to overcome my fear of it. And now I'm not really even stressed about it.
That's so good.
Yeah.
It's weird.
You're very natural.
Yeah, you're really good at it. You also have the whole episode I've been like, who do you remind? You remind me a little bit of a Chelsea Handler thing, like. Have you ever heard that?
No.
Really?
No,
I think it's your eyes. You have pretty eyes. I think
thanks.
That's what it is.
I keep getting invited to her show, and I want to.
What the hell?
I haven't gone, but it's
is
at the
not
Cosmo.
A scam?
Yeah, no. So back to the invitation thing. It's like I'm scared because she's a female comic, and I'm scared if I go and hated it. I would never want to disparage her.
Right.
But I know that they're not inviting me because they just want to hang out with me. So I've just kind of put it off. And usually what I'll do is I'll go on my own.
Yeah.
and see how it is. But I've heard enough kind things about her that I think I should just do it.
Yeah.
She seems really awesome.
Yeah. And she's always at Cosmo. There must be like a deal
Oh,
there
really?
or something. Yeah.
Interesting. I used to love the Cosmo when it first opened. It was my favorite. Like that secret pizza place up there we used to go to all the time.
Super good.
Not so
Yeah.
secret anymore.
Yeah, there's actually 4 hidden concepts in Cosmo. It has the most out of any property.
Dang.
Oh.
So Ghost Donkey
Yes.
in the food court. That's a tequila and mezcal bar. Beauty and Essex, which is the restaurant hidden behind the pawn shop. On the same floor as Halejo and Blue Ribbon.
Oh, wow.
Which
It's right by STK, yeah?
Right. So Escalators, STK, LPM, Blue Ribbon, Secret Pizza, Halejo, Scarpetta, Red Plate, and then Beauty and Essex, all in that little space
All
there.
right.
It's a lot of restaurants.
Yeah. And then downstairs on the first floor, Barbershop, which is great. That's a great bar. And then the hidden drink, the Verbena, which is the drink that if you go into the Chandelier Bar and ask for, it's not on any menu. I think it's $21 now, but it's like a yuzu margarita with a buzz button in it, and you chew the flower, and it makes your mouth like vibrate. It's wild. You've got to drink it. Like you're
What's
either
it
going to
called?
love it or hate it. It's a Verbena. But it is the top selling cocktail in all of Las Vegas.
Wait,
Holy
we
shit.
need
That
to
Chandelier
try
Bar
that.
used to have my favorite dirty vodka martini, actually. So,
Yeah, it's really a good bar.
so wait, you chew it and
And it's a Sichuan flower is what it is, but they call it a buzz button. But it creates like hot and cold sensations that almost sort of reverberate
interesting.
in your mouth. And then when you drink the citrus in the yuzu, it's not a margarita, but it's margarita-ish. You drink it and it will run down your throat in like hot and cold waves. It's very cool.
Cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Did you say how much it was, or did I miss it?
$21, I think.
Oh, that's
Or it
not that
was,
bad.
but it's been like a year since I've
That's
bought
not that
one.
bad. I thought it was going to be a lot more.
No, it's
Yeah,
very,
that seems reasonable compared
Yeah.
to other cocktails that you would get
Yeah.
there.
Oh, yeah.
So, but that's a lot of hidden concepts in like one. Oh, and the ski lodge. Oh my gosh.
What's
I almost-
that?
Super Frico has a hidden speakeasy. So between Super Frico, the restaurant, and the buffet, there's a door, and there's just a gold emblem on it with a skier, and that is Spiegelworld's hidden ski lodge. And what's so cool about it is you walk in, it's very dark, it's all wood, and there's snow falling behind the bar.
Oh my God, fun.
It's so beautiful.
Whoa.
And Ross actually has a secret chamber in there where when he's in town, as he often is, that's where he entertains. And like they have cool like tableside s'more drinks and like fun
Cute.
holiday overlays. And then if you go into the Octagon at the Super Frico into the restaurant in the old room where the OPM or opium, but then they called it OPM because turns out opium will get you flagged on social media.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
Loading dock for the show, there's a hidden room called the Reliquary. And you guys would like it because inside the Reliquary, and you have to ask, and I don't think many people know it's there, but it's just a private dining table for Ross and his people when they're in town. But you can also sit there if you ask for it. But the whole room is full of like opening day absinthe artifacts.
Wow.
And like from the early Spiegelworld days, like really
Yeah.
funny things, like the original Gaz's original shoes.
Do they have his
Cool.
bust there, this face? It must be in there.
It's full of it, all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff, like literally thousands of relics and memorabilia that would
That's
probably
cool.
have meaning to you guys.
Yeah.
Like,
That's cool.
Oh, we should do that. We should have a little night.
Yeah, that the original Spiegel Beer Garden. Did you go there? Because that was phenomenal.
What were the years for that?
2011.
2011.
So I started kind of being out and doing everything like 2020. So I would have missed
Oh,
that.
okay, it was unreal, and I
Yeah.
think that's kind of what they even had like a hamburger truck there. Remember
Yeah.
hamburger something? It was these two girls in bikinis that would make cheeseburgers outside the beer garden, and it was like. It took a little while to catch on, but like other shows, like Cirque du Soleil shows, would get out and they would all come over to our tent and we would all party all the time. And then,
Yeah, it was fun.
and then like it became like the thing to know that like there was all these hot acrobats out getting drunk and stuff.
Yeah. Now
It
they
was-
have no pants.
Yeah.
So
It's a burger place too, right?
Right. And it was meant to be, so originally it was called like the Yacht Club or something like really Catalina Wine Club-esque or whatever. It was a little weird. And so you go through like the garden and then there's this like very strange nautical themed room and then a courtyard and there's a phone booth in it. And if you had tickets to Absinthe, you could enter through the phone booth and not have to stand in line and do all
Yeah.
that. So it was really cool. And but the whole concept was just kind of weird in the way that Spiegel World is. But the food, the burgers, the little star-shaped tater tots with like a sriracha aioli, the food's good,
Yeah.
which is surprising because
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
cool.
you would expect this to be trash.
Yeah.
But I think they have renamed it to No Pants.
I think you're right.
now, so it's like No
Interesting.
Pants Burger.
Huh.
But either way, I mean, the thing about Spiegel World is it's always going to be weird, but like the product is always also going to be good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. They also like notoriously like we made so much more money than like the people on Cirque du Soleil, like because they would go after big names in the industry all over the world.
Yeah, like they
So
took good care of us.
we were like, I was making so much money there. Like my friends that were working so much harder on Cirque were making like a tiny.
This was back then. I don't know if it's still like that because there's
Yeah,
a lot
that's
of
true.
them now.
Yeah, that's true. They've like I think they do. How many shows?
It's
they do,
7
like,
days a week
7
now.
days a week, but they also do like 3 shows a day.
Yeah,
with
3
different
shows
casts.
on Saturday. And what's wild is each one's different.
Yeah.
So, like, if you go to the 7 p.m. show, it's the theme, like, it's not just different acts. I mean, like, the way that they do the show is different. And I was surprised because I recently went to the late show of Absinthe, and it was definitely dirtier than, like, the 7
Yeah.
p.m. version.
That's smart.
I don't know what Cirque and Spiegel World performers make, but I do know that kind of the average right now for other shows is around $150 per show per performer, and to me that seems insane.
That's about right for Cirque.
okay.
It used to be $100 a show was like the average, unless you were like the Alexis Brothers, like a big star act that they were making giant money. But yeah, it used to be still. I guess now that you say that, it's probably the same.
So $150 is about what you should expect if you're like a singer at a restaurant where they offer singing and dining. I won't name any names. But I had one of those performers, a very talented woman, reach out to me. I came in, I showed her, she was awesome. And then she told me she was going to work on a Carnival cruise ship. And I was like, why in the world would you leave the Vegas Strip at a premier dining location for a Carnival cruise line? And she's like, do you know what we make? And she told me, and I was like, oh my God, go buy safe travels. Yeah.
Yeah.
But same with the men who dance without clothes on. They make about $150 per
Crazy.
guy per show. And there's some seniority in there. You might get a little more if you've been around for a while and you've negotiated better for yourself. But about $150 per person per show. So if you're doing 2 shows a night, which is incredibly hard on your body.
Yeah.
You know what? $300 after taxes, you're bringing home like $250.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
It is
Yeah,
wild.
a lot of them have more than one job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
When Absinthe first opened, the tickets were $69 a ticket.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was fun, and that phone booth was pretty fun. Like
that was a VIP entrance back then.
right.
Yeah.
You
So
could
now,
actually
like
go through
anyone
there.
who's in there, and they don't really talk about it. It's just kind of one of those things, like, and I appreciate that about Spiegel World. They leave some things to like, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Well, like the ski lodge. So, would you have to be invited to go there? Like, how do we do that?
No, so
I wanna
here's
do
the
that.
cool Easter egg about that is they serve a limited menu of most of the things that you can get in Super Freako. So if you want to go to Super Freako on a Friday night and you can't get a reservation, Ski Lodge is no reservation, walk-in only, and it's so obscure and like eccentric that you can get in there most of the time. It's very cool. It's very like dark and weird, and like there's like a faux fire, and like every once in a while. So did you guys ever see Opium? Okay, so they have a girl who it was a bubble act.
I did that act.
Okay, so the bubble girl, her name in the show was Lulu, but she was an Asian performer, and like you would go to see her in the show, and here's this beautiful like Asian woman in like leather, and you know the outfit, like a little wig, and she's like doing this whole bubble and putting her body in it and doing all this, but she would also sometimes be in the ski lodge in pajamas knitting.
Interesting.
And there would be no explanation offered for this. She would just be there knitting, usually hats or something. And I'm assuming this was not a hobby of hers, but just part of her job role.
Yeah.
But like that's how they would kind of multi-purpose these performers is between their sets at OPM, or Opium as it were known. they would also wander through Ski Lodge or Super Frico and be doing things. Like the jugglers would also be like in there, like in a ballerina costume dancing, you know. So
That's fun.
it's very weird. And now that Opium is closed, you don't get all of them. Like, do you know Brett Loudermilk?
Yeah.
Okay, the sword swallower. Like he sometimes will guest star. So like sometimes he'll be at Super Frico swallowing swords. I guess maybe when he needs to pick up shifts or whatever, but like you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
But you'll get these amazing world caliber performers that are doing big things who may be in the bar knitting.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
while
that is
you're
cool.
there. Yeah, so that's what kind of makes it neat.
Yeah,
is-
that gives it a different like feel for like to be that close to the the
Right,
artist
but
and
if you
get,
don't know the lore and you're not like one of us who are nerds about all this stuff, you're just in the bar and you just see like this really hot, beautiful woman knitting a hat in pajamas next to the fake fire and the falling snow, and no one's providing context. So I think that's what kind of makes Speaker World awesome.
Yeah,
for sure.
All right, my last question, and then we'll let you get out of here. For a new content or not content creator, influencer, like breaking into the business, what's your advice? Like, how do young people get into this? Not to make competition for yourself, but like, what would be your advice?
So first of all, I want competition because we're kind of at the point to where Drew, Alex, and I are the largest, and then right under us there's another little wave. But outside of like the 4 or 5 of us, there's not a lot of people making huge strides, and competition inspires creativity.
Yeah.
Like the more people that are doing cool things, the more cool things we're doing. So I want everyone to make content. If I'm doing my job correctly, you won't be able to put me out.
Right.
So I'm not worried about that at all. But the only thing that matters in content creation is consistency, which is really hard because you can't be creative and also schedule it, which is why it's hard, because truly creative people, it comes in waves.
Right.
You know, we have days, I would assume it's the same for you guys, where I wake up and I want to just bed rot. I want to just
Every day for me.
just put on something like a wearable blanket and like not do this,
Yeah.
not be this.
Yeah.
And then, but if I let that command my time, then I'll have days where I don't post for 2 or 3 days. And then people are not, the amount of people that love us are only like 1% of the viewers. The amount of people that really hate us are only like 1%, even though it feels like they're the loudest and there's so many of them. 98% of the people that consume our content will forget about us the minute we're not on their screen. And so in order to keep that momentum, you have to be on their screen all the time.
That's good advice.
And that's the most important thing, is just do whatever you do. Even if you're doing it poorly, do it every day.
Yeah.
And you will eventually get better. And you will eventually find your stride to where it's less arduous. But you have to do it every day. And the days that you can't do it, that needs to be the exception, not the rule.
Yeah.
So they would just be taking their phones, going out, picking a restaurant, shooting content, talking
Anything.
about it, posting
Yeah.
it to the thing, just on and on and on and on and on.
Yeah, I highly discourage just doing like stock footage and like, you know, reading headlines. But
Yeah.
like, go put work into making content every day. And if you can't do that because you physically can't make yourself, which I can't half the time, take a day where you can. That day where you wake up and your ADHD is in check and like your neurodivergence is working for you instead of against you, and you go shoot 55 places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Just
and then
stock it up.
right, and then bed rot on the days that you need to like edit and do those things. Like I'm stuck in the ACOTAR universe right now, the A Crown of Thorns and Roses books. Like I'm on the last one, but I listen to them on Audible while I'm like editing footage and stuff. And so like there will be no new content until I find out what happens with Nesta and Cassian, and then I'll be back out and filming and, you know, doing all of those things.
Yeah, that's
Interesting.
awesome.
But you have to do it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good advice, even for us, I feel.
Yeah, that makes sense. And like, are you mostly on Instagram, or do you advise like starting on Instagram for like
No.
all of them?
So I focused on TikTok exclusively for a long time, and so much so that I made it like a personality trait. Like I'm a TikToker. I'm not whatever these other people are. That is stupid. You're doing the work. There's no difference in doing the work for one platform or doing it for 6.
Yeah.
You should grow all of your platforms all of the time. And I have like a process that I go through where I make one video and then I make it fit each platform and their like algorithms and needs. But you'll have your favorites. I love IG for growth and organic views. TikTok is a bunch of effery and they screw with you and you'll be hot one minute and not the next because they literally control the amount of views that you see.
Yeah.
Your people will measure their greatness and their capability by the amount of views they're getting. And TikTok, it's not organic. When TikTok, the company, loves you, you will pop off. When TikTok is not loving you so much, you will not. And that's not conspiracy theory. I am part of the TikTok like North American creator panels. And I have been in meetings where they have said, we need to showcase this demographic or ethnicity or viewpoint. We're going to put this person on fire. And then I have watched that person become like a worldwide celebrity that's making millions of dollars a year. I have benefited from that sort of treatment myself. Are there people who are organic on TikTok? Yes, but it's like every once in a while. If people are consistently doing well, they are in favor. IG, it appears to be, and maybe just because I'm not on a panel with them, but it appears to be very much based on merit. Like if you're doing well on IG, it's a good litmus test for whether or not your content is good. But I know a lot of great creators who aren't doing well on TikTok and they're like, I don't understand it. Like, why can't I have, 15 million view videos? And I'm like, you need to work with TikTok. You need to be involved in their initiatives, take their surveys, sign up for their powwows, like go to their meetings, go to their, like if they invite you to something, you go, like play ball.
Yeah.
But IG and Meta, it's more just like you post and it'll do its thing. But you should be posting on all platforms. I did not prioritize Threads like a moron. I thought it was stupid. I should know better. These companies are not going to roll out $1 million infrastructures to do nothing with them.
Yeah.
Now they're starting to do things with Threads.
Right.
Now I'm showing up, but I'm late to the party. I could have 1 million followers there already.
Yeah,
and I'm at like $1.66, which is not terrible, but
Yeah, it's still great.
yeah, but I should have been treating it with respect the entire time because now they're doing things.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's wild that like the Thread thing, and we actually the most money we make is on Facebook, which is really weird.
Facebook's huge.
I know.
Yeah,
and it's like not a lot of people know.
Well, not a ton, but so I don't know what creators consider to be a lot of money, but there were moments this year when TikTok was paying small creators $15,000 to $30,000 a month in the beta fund.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
To me, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of a month. That's a lot of money. People make that in a year.
Yeah.
There are creators in our market who made like Mercedes level pay in a month, and I don't mean like the Mercedes I drive. I mean like AMG, like I've got the little GLA that's 5 years old, and you can get it at CarMax. Like I'm talking like the beautiful like $90,000 cars in a month.
Yeah, that's wild.
In our market, and it wasn't me. I'm not speaking cryptically.
It's wild. We have some friends in the network that we're a part of on Facebook that they make over a couple $1 million a year, and they just make cooking videos.
Yeah. Now that
and they're not cooks. They went and bought a Martha Stewart book, and they just make
and a ring light.
So that's not that unheard of. Like a strong creator in Vegas that's on all 5 platforms should be around $1 million. Like that's very attainable, but it's a lot of work on different platforms.
Yeah.
Like I'll have months, and this is where it's crazy. I'll hit 25 million views on IG and get paid $15. I'll hit 100,000 views on Facebook and get $3,000. I'll hit 75 million on X and get $9. Elon needs to step in. And then YouTube will be like $300, $300, $300, 8,000, $300, and it's like, what are we doing? So you have to be everywhere,
right? Diversify.
You have to have passive revenue streams. So like I have my guide to Vegas that I sell that tells people like where to go and what to do. You have to have brand deals. You have to be doing consulting work. You have to have 50 irons in the fire to do this well and to make $1 million a year doing it, because any one of them could pop off or crap out.
Right.
And the month that I think I made 18,000 was my highest month on TikTok. I was like, oh my God, I'm rich. This is it. I've arrived. I'm only going to do this. And then I realized that like the next month it can be 0.
Yes. 100%.
And so you can never rest.
Yeah. The biggest video we made was like, we made almost about 15,000 on one TikTok video. And when that was one of our first that popped off, and I was like, oh my God, we are set.
Yeah, this is it. I'm just going to do this every Thursday.
Last month, I think we made like $91 on TikTok.
No, that's exactly how it goes. And that's what everyone sees these influencers and they're like, oh, they're making so much money. Yes, there are times when it's like money is raining from the heavens. And then there's also, I had a big creator in our market message me and she was like, do you have anything working? She's like, I haven't had a brand deal in like months. And she's no different from me. And I'm working on several. It's just luck of the draw. Talking about you guys getting invites. Do you know the PR firms and the interns that work at these PR firms? They don't know who we are. And unless they're a fan, they don't have any awareness of you guys, me, anyone. They hire, everyone's using third party everything. They use third party software that ranks the most powerful like channels and influencers.
Whoa.
And what's crazy is a lot of times they're so out of touch with what's really going on. Like they'll bring up someone like a Jersey Shore creator who has a home here but doesn't create Vegas content.
And you're like,
right, yeah, and it's not relevant or whatever. I got invited on a huge brand trip and I asked them, I was like, how did I get this invite? Like, I understand why I was invited. It makes sense for me to be here, but you guys have never reached out to me before. And they were like, we hired a consulting firm to compile a list of like the best creators for what we were specifically looking for. And you responded to our email. And I was like, wow, so this has nothing to do with like me or my ethic or my reputation or anything. Like it was just random, like a firm in Texas.
Yeah.
You know, so it's so like out there that you just need to put yourself out there all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's wild. It is just a wild game. Like, and also like seeing your numbers, your viewers fly, and then all of a sudden, like we're doing well on like I think we're a little over 250,000 followers on TikTok, which is not a lot, but like it screeching halt.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is happening? And then like even like some videos will take off, but still like the viewers will not move. It's like what happened?
So let me tell you what happened specifically to TikTok because I work with them quite a bit. Is they are currently in panic mode inside. So what happened, they in an effort to really prove that they are valuable and they should remain here, they divested all of their servers to America. Like they're in Texas. They're overseen by a company called Oracle. They are doing everything stateside, and that came with increased cost. So they launched the Creator Fund beta program which is where you guys are getting paid, same as me. Because they wanted there to be a lot of stories of like, I make my living on TikTok, please don't ban us. Well, when they opened it up for everyone to join, that took this pool of money that let's say is a theoretical $1 billion. And instead of the people who were in the beta fund, and there was like 100,000 of us getting paid $10,000 a month, now there's 10 million people in the beta fund. So they had a real problem where if they let our content just pop off organically, they couldn't pay us any kind of sustainable rate because they would run out of money really, really fast. So they had to slow the algorithm down. And where it used to be, my metric was if I don't get 15,000 views within the first 15 minutes, the video's a dud and I need to rework it. Now my metric is I should hope to get 10,000 views in the first hour. And it's slowing down. TikTok went from being a platform where you pop off to now it's a slow burn. Because they're wanting to control the output of funds.
I see.
Too. So it's not your fault. Your content doesn't suck. The way to tell if your content sucks is if you post it on all the platforms and it's dead everywhere, then it's you.
Yeah, you're the problem.
If you're posting it on other platforms and it's doing okay or doing at least what you would expect it to, and it's just TikTok, they're the problem. They also are slowing account growth. And the way that they do that is by limiting who sees your content. So it's not like a true shadow ban. You haven't done anything, but they'll show you to like 2% of your following instead of 100% of your following. So the result is you're not growing faster. Like and it also inspires creators to put out more content and work harder.
Yeah.
So because you think you're failing, so you try to go harder.
That
like,
makes sense.
Look at the whole picture instead of the one.
Yeah.
So I'm also not growing on TikTok right now. And then I had a day last week where I put on like 10,000 followers and the next day was like 200. So like I know it's not me.
Yeah.
You know.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Good to know too. These are all good notes.
Yeah, it's huge.
I would love to sit down and just talk with you more
about social media. Sure. Yeah. But just keep doing what you're doing and like you'll find your people. Like I looked at all of you guys' content and it's very hard to do what you're doing, which is to go from short form to long form.
Yeah. But we started, I made a mistake. We started long form a while ago, and then it was like, and then some of them took off. And then I was trying to switch over to shorts, and I got rid of all of our long forms that were doing well. And as somebody, I think I might have gotten like duped into doing that. But then our short form really took off. Like we have a couple of that are over 100 million views, and then YouTube started paying really well. And I was like, okay, well let's. And then we started this podcast, and we were like, well, and one of my friends used to work at YouTube and still has like connections there. Was like trying to help me with the algorithm of how like if you're shorts, you're just shorts. Like it's like he was like, you can do this, you can transfer it, but it's going to take some massive effort and time to like transfer it over your show. Because one friend was like, we'll just make a playlist of your podcast, which is fine. But it's like, that's not why all those people followed you to watch your podcast.
No, it's like the 1% that I told you about. Like the 1% that loves you will go watch anything you put out.
Yeah.
The 1% that hates you will also go watch everything that you put out. 98% of people, it's you've opened an Italian restaurant that turns into a French restaurant at night. And even though both people like food, they're not interested in the other one. You know what I mean? So you've got a hard road ahead of you.
Right.
I used to block everyone that hated me or was mean to me, or like send me an email and be like, your mascara was terrible today, you should die. And I'm like, and I'd block them. Perez Hilton is the one who told me, he says, don't block anyone unless they're being truly horrendous.
Like threatening you.
Like you need to have, like the hate is just as powerful as the love.
Yeah.
Right.
And like you can't let them affect you. You have to keep going, because that 2% is what moves the needle for you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the other 98%, you're just like trying to keep them to stick around.
Yeah.
Right.
So just keep doing what you're doing. It's tough though.
Yeah,
Like, it's
it is.
really, really
And
tough.
emotionally and mentally too. Like in the beginning, I was like, I would be sitting there and be like, I'm not cringy.
That's like the new word. Yeah.
But yeah, no, and also like like this thing. I even thought about like even going back off of YouTube with this, because Spotify is really where I'm trying to like aim for with this show. Like we're on all the platforms, but I feel like Spotify is like, you know, like it's more where I kind of want to be with this show, I think.
There's also big money in being cringy, just so you know.
Yeah.
Like some of the people I watch on YouTube, like there's this like woman, I think she's Latina because she has like a tiny hint of like an accent, but she wears like little short shorts and she plays herself as a child, interacting with herself as the mother. And she has like these horrible catchphrases like, I don't like today. And like, she's like, the mom is like telling her like, you know, put your stuff away, and the kid's doing devious stuff, but she is all the characters. It's horrible. It's so cringy. Like I'm physically embarrassed for her.
Yeah.
And yet she's got like 200 million followers.
That's
Like,
crazy.
she's fine. Like she is literally crushing it. And I realized that her whole brand is like cringe.
Yeah.
You know, Colby
a
and
lot of
Sam
money.
live here, and they're not cringy, but their whole content is haunted house content. They like go to haunted castles and they do stuff like that. They made their first million before they were even 18 years old.
That's
Jesus.
crazy.
They're like, you would think you would eventually run out of ghosts to
Yeah.
host. And like they're still doing it, and they've been doing it for like 10 years. So like if your overtone is getting feedback from the children that like, oh, this is cringe or this is whatever, like lean into that.
Yeah.
Like be cringy, because they will come back just to tell you.
Yeah.
That's
I
true.
think, you
Our
know?
kids aren't
You're
fans
right.
of it though.
Yeah. It's funny.
Sorry. All right. Well, thank you so
Yes.
much.
Yeah, no worries.
Thank
I'm
you.
close to my appointment. I say no, I'm good.
Okay.
So
I have to be at New York at 2:30, but I can.
Oh, okay,
Oh.
okay.
Yeah, we're
Yes, we'll
good.
wrap it up.
Vegas Starfish. That's what it's not. The Vegas Starfish.
No, Vegas Starfish on everything. Except Blue Sky, because I was late to that party and someone jacked my username.
No.
And they're posting really political stuff, and
Oh,
it's
no.
like some of it I agree with, some of it I don't. But either way, I don't want to be involved.
Yeah.
It's like so.
Have you tried to get? Have you like offered them anything? Like.
No, because that's what they want.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to ignore it. I'm going to count on the heavy politics, because I'm convinced, no matter how strong we all are in our convictions, that between election cycles, most of us just want
Die
to
off,
exist.
yeah.
Wait. So wait, they got your name on purpose?
Yeah.
And they're doing politics to kind of like be like, hey, get you to be like, I don't want that.
I think they're just trying to build a following using the name that because they also took Vital Vegas, which is Scott. They took a lot of our handles and
Yeah.
they're posting things. Like it's a new
Yeah.
platform aimed at like the liberal media, and it's meant to counter what is the red one? I think it's called Truth.
Yeah.
So it so there's Truth and then there's Blue Sky, and I'm not on either for
Okay.
obvious reason. Because I want to be away from all of that.
Yeah.
But someone has taken my name on both. So depending
Yikes.
on where you are on the internet, I'm either a hardcore Republican or a hardcore Democrat. And the truth is I'm firmly like right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
we should all be
yeah,
there.
but yeah, it's meant to be like a pendulum, you know,
Yeah.
like of balance. But either way, yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna have to reach out to them.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Vegas Starfish.
Vegas Starfish, thank you so
Yes,
much.
thank you
thanks
for
for
your
having me.
time. This was so great.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you guys
Thanks,
so much.
everybody. Woohoo!